Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Green and White Report on WDBM East Lansing. It's Conference Championship Sunday. We'll give you all your preview for all you need to know, and of course, the Lions game as well. I'm Zach Surdenik, here joined as always by our crew. We're all back. This is what, the second week now this semester that we're back?
Yes, sir.
To my left, as you just heard, Mr. AJ Evans.
Good morning, East Lansing. It's one of the biggest Sundays in the state of Michigan and in history.
And Matt Merrifield joins us as well.
Good morning. I have nothing to add.
Fair enough.
AJ, how are you feeling? I mean, you just said how you were feeling, but give us an inside the mind of AJ Evans on this cold and wet Sunday morning in January.
Man, I'm really excited, but I'm also I don't get nervous about games, never. Even with guys I'm rooting for in the NBA, wherever, I'm very nervous.
Welcome to the big boy table. This is what it feels like to play in big games. I'm not even making fun. This is what it feels like. This is the feeling. This is Michigan State in the Final Four. This is literally the Final Four of the NFL playoffs. So, welcome to the big boy table. This is what it's like to be a sports fan.
I know that, Matt. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I'm just reminding you, Lions have never been here before. Never been in this spot. Actually, they've been in the conference championship.
So, are you welcoming the state of Michigan to the big boy table?
As Lions fans, yes. Lions fans, welcome to the big boy table.
Gardner Minshew did not take the Colts to the big boy table.
He did not take them to the big boy table. It's been a while.
When's the last time you were at the big boy table?
For the Colts, it was
much more recently than the Lions.
I know.
6-7 years ago. Andrew Luck, and then he got broke in half, basically. Shout out.
I can't remember this,
Chuck
and this
Pagano.
is a genuine question.
Yeah.
Were they on the winning side or the losing side of that insane Chiefs-Colts comeback game?
They were on the winning side.
won that
That was
game?
Andrew Luck that had that
Yeah.
comeback.
I don't remember.
'Cause
I
Alex
couldn't
Smith is
remember.
a
I
choke
remember the
artist.
game.
I remember that.
But I didn't remember which team won that game.
That was the continuation of the Andy Reid can't win in the playoffs narrative,
Yes, it
which was a
was.
good one.
And then was saved by Patrick Mahomes.
But the Colts were on the wrong side of Deflategate. Screw you, Joe. Cheaters. I don't care. The Colts weren't good enough to win that football game if they wanted to. But anyways, welcome, AJ. I hope you have a great Sunday. I hope your fridge is stocked full. You're going to need it. And enjoy it.
And Joe Dez joins us as well. He's got himself a mic today. Mr.
Not
Super
too bad.
Producer.
Yeah, should be a pretty good episode.
That it should be. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to start with some MSU sports, get into college basketball, both Michigan State and around the country, talk a wild week in the NBA, and then give you everything you need to know about the conference championship games coming up today, the Ravens and Chiefs and the Lions 49ers. We're going to start. I'm going to give you some quick updates around campus, some of the non-revenue sports that are going on right now that have been having some success. Gymnastics, ranked 14th in the country, one of the best teams on this campus. They were last year, regular season Big Ten champions. Today, they open their home schedule against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Peyton Skeever's at the game for us, and we'll be giving you your coverage online, so make sure to check that out at impact89fm.org throughout the day and on our social media pages. Wrestling, yesterday, knocking off Wisconsin. Big-time win. Actually, that was Friday night,
That was
right?
Friday.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
Friday night. This weekend, upset of Wisconsin. Joe Dez, I believe you were in attendance.
Yeah, no, I did the play-by-play for that one, so it wasn't too bad.
You have fun at least?
Yeah, had a good time.
Big-time upset.
Yeah, no, very big upset. First ranked win since 2021, I'm pretty sure. It might have been 2022, but still, pretty cool.
Yeah, big-time win for the wrestling squad and Roger Chandler's team. And on the courts, but not the basketball courts, the tennis courts, Michigan State continuing to get it done. Ranked for the first time in program history. They've got some dogs on that team. Ozan Barish, Matt Sheldon, and Aristelis. I believe I said that right, but I apologize if I did not. Aristotelis. Nope, I definitely didn't say it right. Thanos is his last name, and Aristotelis is actually how you say that, and is his first name, made to be a Spartan.
Yes.
With that
dog.
name. And those three have been killing it, along with a lot of other guys on that tennis team. Shout out to that crew. Really big rise over the last few years and continuing to put out some good stuff. There was a lot of talk about tennis going on right now due to the Australian Open. I'm sure that none of you guys were up at 7 o'clock this morning watching the Australian Open. I was up, not intentionally, but that was fun to watch. So I would recommend Grand Slam tennis.
Dog,
if
you
you
were
guys
up
are
at 7
interested.
a.m.?
Unfortunately, yes. Not intentionally. After staying up to watch the instant classic that was Golden State Los Angeles last night, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, tennis team getting it done as well. Let's move over to the basketball court, though. Women's basketball, dominant over Michigan yesterday. Big-time win. They were dominant over Purdue earlier in the week as well, bouncing back from that loss to Minnesota. And a lot of us were either in attendance or watching that game yesterday, and it was a lot of fun, both for Michigan State and as people that cover Michigan State, but too, just a fun game.
Yeah, this Michigan State women's team is arguably the most volatile team in women's college basketball at the very least. On some nights, they cannot miss. They're one of the best shooting teams on the year, Joe. I know you have the numbers, our women's basketball beat reporter. Where are they in terms of shooting? Because I know some nights they shoot the lights out, and then you have nights like Minnesota earlier this week where you can't buy a bucket.
Yeah, their percentage has gone down a lot since the beginning of the year. They're first in field goal percentage at one point in the nation. They're not first anymore. I'm not sure the exact ranking, but definitely not number one. Well, what was crazy about it is
they're number 13, so it's not like they're that
but
far
still.
down.
But I'm just saying, like, there just seems like some nights this team just cannot find a bucket, which with the lack of size they have down low, obviously Julia Ayralt's still killing it.
Yeah.
But
this MSU team shoots 48% from the field and
that's really
36% from three, which is top 25 in the country in that as well.
As a team, those are really good shooting splits.
But the biggest thing that they have is they're number one in the country in assist-to-turnover ratio by a good margin.
Shout out Dee Hageman.
Yeah, Dee Hageman didn't have that many assists yesterday, but she got buckets.
Yep.
And she had some killer combos on the crossovers. She was getting to her spots and making plays in that game. Michigan was in foul trouble. Layla Felia really struggled. She had 9 in the first quarter, and then she picked up her 3rd in that first quarter, and then picked up her 4th 30 seconds into the second half, and that really killed any momentum Michigan had. Kim Barnes-Arico after the game was not very happy about that. She made a comment that got a lot of traction about how the outcome might have been different had the game been called correctly, but Freilich responded with that Michigan State had 2 starters foul out as well. So it was an interesting game. There were a lot of free throws and a lot of fouls, but at the same time, I think the most encouraging thing for Michigan State was they didn't shoot it well yesterday. I mean, they didn't hit that. They started hot, hit some threes early, and after that, they did not shoot well.
I know they were 14 of 15 from the free throw line in the first half, which was
they did shoot free throws. Well.
I don't know. I mean, this team is fun to watch. It's a lot of fun. I mean, covering this team last year was frustrating because a lot of this team is the same team from last year. They just couldn't put it together when they needed to. Lost a lot of close games, and it's nice to see that they're doing what I thought they could do last year. Obviously, they've improved. Added some players like Jocelyn Tate. But overall, I mean, it's a fun team to watch, and it should be cool seeing the women's basketball team playing March Madness because I think that's a real possibility. I think it's more likely to happen than not.
I would agree. I mean, this team was really able to take care of business and do what it needed to do when it needed to do it. And that's where they're at in these 2 games at home. You beat Purdue, which you needed to beat. Purdue's not that good this year. And then you found a way to beat a good Michigan team in East Lansing, and a Michigan team that really had been dominating the last couple of years in this rivalry, which was weird to see just based on what the overall numbers of this rivalry are, where you've got a Michigan State team that has won 73 of the 99 meetings now, or 74 of the 99 meetings. But Michigan had won 3 straight and was on the brink of more, but the Spartans able to take care of business after a close first quarter and continuing to do what they seem to have done all year under Robin Freilich, and that is run away in the second quarter. Make an adjustment after the first quarter and run away and hide.
Yeah, just going back to Matt's volatile comment, got ran up. Against Minnesota, 50 points the entire game. At halftime versus Michigan, they had 48.
And Michigan only averages allowing 58.8 points per game.
Oh, their defense is great. Yeah,
Best
they're
in the
an
Big
amazing
Ten,
defense.
And 63 against Big Ten competition. 82, the second most points they've given up all year. They gave up 84 in one game earlier this year. But besides that, they've been really good. And so a big win for Michigan State to get back above 500 in Big Ten play, get to 15-5 on the season. Over to the ice at Munn Ice Arena, another volatile series for Michigan State. Friday night was electric. Absolutely insane. I know Matt was on the call for Impact. I was on the call for Big Ten Plus, and it was a game that Michigan State looked flat in the first 2 periods. They couldn't get anything going. Minnesota scored early in the first and late in the second, but nothing was really going in those first two periods, Matt.
The second period, they did not look great. They had 3 shots, I believe, in the entire second period. The first period, once they went down 1-0, they didn't look flat. I mean, those are 2 really good teams. I know Wisconsin right now is sitting in second in the Big Ten. I haven't watched a ton of them this year, but Minnesota has been the standard in the Big Ten for hockey. They've won the last 2 regular season titles. They still are a very good team. They have like 12 NHL draft picks. The first period was really good hockey of 2 back and forth top 10 teams, which is what we got treated to. Second period wasn't great. And then the third period, Michigan State just turned it back on.
Yeah.
And for the second game in a row, they came back. They were down 2-0. Jarecki came up with that big goal for his first of the season. That's pretty good timing, I would say.
Yeah.
Then they got another shorthanded goal for now 7 on the year, which is far and away most in the Big Ten.
Tied for the lead in the country now.
And then, Daniel Russell, who I think had 1 goal in the last 15 games or something like that. He had his last.
Yeah, he had really been struggling.
His last goal that he had was against Notre Dame. I believe it was the empty netter. So he hadn't actually scored on a goaltender in like 2 months, and he came up with one obviously with 4 seconds left. I don't think Munn's ever been louder.
Yeah,
at least in the last decade.
That was absolutely electric.
That was so much fun to be there and watch. But then Saturday, the wheels fell off. That was other than the Michigan game last Friday, where the wheels never even got on the bus. That was just not a good performance for Michigan State yesterday. And Minnesota took advantage of something that's been an issue for Michigan State all year, which is penalties. So
they did, and the same thing Michigan did last weekend on Friday. They took it. I mean, Michigan State was sloppy all over the place, but penalties. Michigan and Minnesota, and both teams are very similar in this way. And Michigan State's players and coaches talked about this all week long leading up to this series. If you give them an advantage, they're going to take advantage of it. On special teams, they're the top 2 teams in the Big Ten at converting on the power play. And there's just so much talent that if you give them a rush or if you give them a power play, they're going to hurt you.
Well, and I think for this Michigan State team looking ahead, because now, thank you to Michigan.
Yes.
Michigan State now has a 5-point lead with 2 games in hand on Wisconsin. With what do we have? 4 weekends left. 4
there
series.
Are
Notre Dame, Michigan.
4 for Michigan State, 5 for Wisconsin.
So you have 4 series left for Michigan State. You have Notre Dame next weekend, Michigan at LCA and Yost, Ohio State at home for senior weekend,
which is a huge series. You have to take all 6 points.
And then Wisconsin on the road to close out the season, which will likely decide the Big Ten title.
Yeah, more than likely, Michigan State's playoffs, quote unquote, are going to start a week earlier than everybody else's. They're going to start in that series in Madison because the winner of that series is more than likely going to win the Big Ten and get a first-round bye in the Big Ten tournament. The loser is going to have to play the next weekend.
Yeah, and I just looking ahead, because this Michigan State team is going to be in the NCAA tournament, barring a complete collapse. What this team can accomplish, I don't know, because this team has a lot of talent, and they show that they don't quit, and they can score a lot of goals, and they can come back from any deficit. But the penalties have to stop. This team averages, I think, like 17 penalty minutes a night. And I know some of those numbers are skewed because of the Michigan game last weekend. But still, like, stay out of the frickin' box. They took 5 penalties on Friday night. They killed them all. That's great. But when you're on the penalty kill for 10 minutes of hockey, you put yourself in a pretty tough hole to climb out of. And they were able to do it. But you're not going to be able to do that in March. I mean, you get the NCAA tournament in hockey is quick. It's 1 weekend. You win 2 games, you go to the Frozen Four. If you lose 1, you're done. So it's a 16-team field. Everybody but like 2 are elite because you have every conference that's an automatic qualifier, and right now the only 2 that wouldn't be in the top 16 seeds already are for the 1 seeds, and they usually get blown out like 8-1 by the. Like BU and BC will take care of them in the first weekend anyway. Yeah. So
and those guys you're going to play series too this weekend.
You're going to play a combination of Western Michigan, Minnesota, Denver, BC, like elite hockey teams. Quinnipiac. You're not going to be able to get away with what you do these last 2 weekends. So I am concerned with how they've played these last 2 weekends. I know Minnesota, Michigan are good, but you're supposed to be a cut above them as the Big Ten leaders at this point in the season.
You are. And I will say there's that, and then you go back to that series against a very good Wisconsin team. I know you said you haven't gotten a chance to watch much of those. I was on the call for that series, and Wisconsin's very good. Wisconsin has played elite hockey throughout the entirety of this season as a big surprise team in their first year with a new coach. But that series was dominated by Michigan State. Michigan State was in control. They were the more physical team, and they were the better team, but they were in East Lansing.
And I think, well, with Wisconsin's in a similar spot of Michigan State where they have a lot of talent, and it's the new head coach with Mike Hastings. Yep. And I just don't think, while they're very talented, I don't think they're the same cut as a program. They're not in the same spot that Minnesota and Michigan are in. So when they go into those games, like Michigan State is just a better team right now than where Wisconsin is. And then once you go up against the big boys that have that type of talent, an established program, it's just different. And that's why I think Michigan State has struggled. They've struggled at Minnesota a little bit. They were able to split the points 3-3 in that series. They come out, get 3 again this weekend. So, I mean, they're right with Minnesota. And while the standings don't project it, Minnesota's a very good hockey team. And I still think they're the second best team in the Big Ten behind Michigan State.
They're going to get a chance to show it.
They're like right there. I mean, Minnesota, Michigan State, and Wisconsin are all like right there with each other, I think.
And Minnesota goes to Madison this weekend.
And I believe,
a big series.
And they got swept at home 2 weeks ago because that was the weekend we were at. It was at Minnesota because we were there the weekend. Michigan State football was there that same weekend in Minneapolis.
In October.
At Halloween weekend,
and that was when Wisconsin really...
That's when they were wagging. They couldn't
and they
be
went
stopped.
up to number 1, and then they came to East Lansing and got swept.
Right. So we'll see. But, I mean, overall, this seems really good. It's a lot of fun. Liam Jackson, front of the program, was at the game on Friday night. He said he had never been at a game at Munn since the new regime took over, and he got a treat. That was probably the best game at Munn since the new regime took over. And it's just new, fun hockey. We've been saying it all year. There's just some concerning things for me, especially when I go back and rewatch some of the stuff of just sloppy play on defense, getting caught in the offensive zone, taking bad penalties, spending a third of the game on the penalty kill. But they got killed by some
almost killed by some ill-advised stretch passes in that game against Minnesota, trying to get it out of the zone. And Gucci already got picked off a couple of times, and that hurt him.
And that's just kind of like the duality of that style of play of, yes, you're going to connect on some passes, create some quick odd man rushes, or you're going to turn the puck over at the blue line, and it's going to end up right in your face. But we'll see. Because I'm pretty sure one of the goals on Friday night was because of Gucci. I think it was Gucciardi.
That was the play I was talking about. He tried to get it out, and Snuggerud picked it off, which set up a 2-on-1 with Snuggerud and Oliver Moore, and there aren't many lines that you want to see less coming at you with an odd man rush than Minnesota's top line.
Yeah. So, but overall, not the worst weekend. And, they got Notre Dame on the road and then a big series at Yost and LCA in 2 weeks. So we'll see how they take care of business.
Yeah, it's going to be a while back before they come back to East Lansing for senior weekend against Ohio State on the 23rd and 24th. We're going to take a break, come back and talk some college basketball. Just getting started, whole lot to get to on the Green and White Report on WDBM. Welcome back to the Green and White Report on WDBM East Lansing. It's time to take a look at the college basketball landscape. We're going to start with Michigan State's game on Friday night against Wisconsin. I did not get to watch a ton of this game. I saw bits and pieces of it. I was doing the hockey game, but it wasn't pretty what I did get to see.
No, it wasn't.
Ironically enough, I saw the 6-minute mark to the 2-minute mark because of I was off calling hockey as well, and then I was watching it on my phone in my car while I was at Taco Bell on Trowbridge, and then I have to walk 5 minutes back to my apartment from where my parking spot is, so that's where I missed the final 2 minutes. But anyways, the 6-minute to 2-minute mark, Michigan State actually played okay. They got back into the game. I think they made it from a 20-point game down to 10-point game. But the other 36 minutes of basketball that was played was not pretty. Wisconsin's a really good team. I think that needs to be said, and I still don't think they're getting enough credit. They might go out and win the Big Ten regular season title outright.
I agree.
And I don't know. I think
although they do have to go to the place where all teams go to die, and that is Lincoln, Nebraska. So Nebraska
ball might be dead. They just got murdered in College Park.
Wait though, Nebraska at home in Big Ten play. 5-0, second best efficiency rating in the conference. On the road, 0-5, worst efficiency
There are
rating
some
in the conference.
teams in this conference that cannot win on the road. Ohio State.
Every team in the conference cannot win on the road.
Okay, there's bad. Like Michigan State won at Maryland. Like they need to be applauded for that because you have a team like Ohio State.
That was such a terrible second half in that game.
The Ohio. They
scored 17 points.
Northwestern was 2.5-point favorites. That might have been the bet of the year to take them at home because they're a wagon in Evanston against Ohio State by 2.5. Ohio State.
Shout out Boo Booey.
The last time Ohio State won on the road was January 1st of 2023. That was the last time they won a true road game. Chris Holtmann sucks.
It's okay. It could be worse, though. Actually, they broke it because it's Micah Shrewsbury, and he's obviously him. But Notre Dame hadn't won a road game since January of 2022 until they won one last week.
Oh, my.
Notre Dame basketball is awful. Shout out Mike Bray for leaving it in complete disarray.
Okay, anyways,
Micah
before
Shrewsbury,
we,
dog.
Hey, before we get
Friend
off
of the program.
before we completely go off the rails here, I watched most of the game.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, Wisconsin, honestly, they just look like the better team. I mean, and that was what we saw when they played here. Like, they won the rebounding battle, and, once they're a team that you can't give up offensive rebounds to because they just eat so much time up off the clock until they get a good shot. And that's what they did. A.J. Storr was terrific. A.J. Hogard had a really good game, probably one of his best games of the season. But, no, this team, still struggling to win on the road. I think it was disheartening just because they just simply got outplayed. Yeah. And it's concerning. It doesn't bode well for the future, just given obviously Wisconsin's a really good team, but with all the talent that this team has on paper, Michigan State shouldn't be completely outplayed for the course of an entire game like that.
I got into this argument with some people, including former host of the show, Brendan Shabath, on Friday night after the game.
Yeah.
He pressed the panic button, and he said this team might miss the tournament. I don't think that this is the game to press the panic button.
No,
I mean, losing at Madison is not a negative.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna miss the tournament, but I do think people need to begin to accept the fact that this team is not what we probably thought it was going to be.
Right,
and I think that's just.
And I think there's
7-8 again.
I think there's some reasons behind the fact that, or the way that this team is not what people thought they were going to be, and I think a big part of that is because, one, this team got insanely hot at the end of last year. From three.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they had 4 guys shooting 40% from three in the Big Ten.
Yep.
That's unheard of. And the odds of that staying weren't that high.
And it's unreasonable to expect multiple guys
and that's
to shoot
what I'm
40.
saying.
Yeah, no, I've gotten arguments with that about people, though. They've said, well, if Akins and Walker both shoot 40% from three, and I said, you can't expect 2 guys to do that for the entire year.
And the other thing is that, one, I think this team is different if Jackson Kohler is healthy the whole year. Because I think Jackson Kohler, the way that Jackson Kohler looked, and I know not everybody saw this outside of Moneyball, and I'm not just talking about Moneyball. If you're from the area or been around, you know what Moneyball is, the Pro-Am, and everybody goes crazy in Moneyball because nobody plays defense, and the Michigan State guys are playing against other good basketball players, but not Division I basketball players, except for when Kay Felder showed up that one time.
Dog.
That was funny, but not this year.
Go Grizzlies.
Shout out Kay Felder. But anyways, I think Jackson Kohler would have made a big difference there. And I also think that at the end of the day, this team is not bad either. This team is not great. They're not a top 10 team in the country, but this team's not bad. And in terms of your question about this team making the tournament, pressing the panic button, look at the schedule the rest of the way. This team is only going to lose maximum, in my mind, 1 game between now and March.
They're guaranteed to lose 1. They're not winning at Mackey.
I mean, almost certainly, unless Purdue has the Big Ten locked up and decides to rest everybody, which doesn't happen in college basketball. But
I don't know. So you think it's guaranteed that
they're not
beat
winning
Illinois?
No.
Well,
Illinois, I said until March, they only lose 1 game. That Purdue game's in March. And so Illinois is the game I think they lose. I don't think they lose any other games. I mean, looking at their schedule, they have Michigan at home, which is a game they have to win. And then they have Maryland at home, another game you have to win.
Iowa could show up and shoot the lights out. That's
not at Breslin. They don't shoot the lights out away from Iowa City. They shoot 80% from 3 in Iowa City.
Shot the lights out in Ann Arbor last night.
Yeah, but that's not a good basketball team. So you're looking at a Michigan State schedule that has Michigan at home, Maryland at home, Minnesota on the road. You have to win all 3 of those games. Then you get Illinois, a game that you could lose, even though it's at home, so they could win that game. But that's a game you can afford to lose. And then you go from there with at Penn State, at Michigan, Iowa at home, Ohio State at home, before you go to Purdue.
I would agree. Illinois is a game you can afford to lose. I want them to win that basketball. Like, win,
Well,
win,
obviously.
I mean, yeah, no, but like more so, just like win a damn Like, I understand it doesn't matter till March, and this is a game they can win. And sure, if they lose, it doesn't hurt them. But at the same time,
No,
like,
you're right.
I don't want to be an 8 seed. Like, let's be a. I know they're not going to be a top 5 seed in this tournament, but
I think they could be a
6.
5. I think if they beat Wisconsin, their ceiling was a 4. But with the loss, I think their ceiling is a 5.
Like, I still think the double bye is very much in play because the rest of the conference just can't
Win on the road.
win on the road. Because all the established teams, like all the secondary teams, like below Wisconsin, Purdue, none of them are established programs other than Illinois.
Yeah.
You have Northwestern, that's really never been this good other than the last like 2 years. You have Nebraska, who's never been this good in the Big Ten. Maryland's whatever. I
mean, this is a Michigan State team that right now sits at 4-5 in
right.
conference.
AJ,
They very realistically could still find themselves. It's an 18-game schedule or a 20-game schedule? 20-game schedule. They could very realistically find themselves finishing at 13-7 in conference.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
What were you gonna say?
my thing was just you were talking about 3-point shooting. Michigan State's shooting 41% from 3 in conference play. Like the start of the year they were aggressively awful at shooting the basketball, and they've started to figure it out.
Yeah,
and they're playing better. I don't know, like they didn't look good on Friday night, and that is concerning. But at the same time, when they are playing well, they look like a top 20 team in the country.
yeah,
Of
but they only
course.
play well against, with the exception of Baylor, against not good teams, and that's been the problem.
And I
is
know.
they haven't beat anybody good. They haven't lost
Right.
to anybody
And part of
bad.
me- and part of me, that's the problem. Is like part of me is like sitting here and waiting. Like they're gonna turn it on. Like
They are
they have to at some point. If
There
they
are
don't turn it
two
on, it's
types
just a
of
waste.
there are two types of mediocre
know.
teams in basketball.
This might be on. This might. I mean,
There's no way this
people
is
need.
on.
I
No,
think people. That's
because-
what. That's my point. I think people need to start to begin accept the fact that this could be as good as it gets.
The only argument against that is last year this team was a shot away from being an Elite Eight team.
Yes.
And this is the exception of Joey Hauser. And as much as I love Joey, they did
Joey
need Joey
was
Hauser.
huge.
I know he was huge, but I don't think they can still get back to that point without him.
I will say I think people are having a bit of amnesia talking about last year's team being a shot away from the Elite Eight and saying that this is. This
is,
team was at the same point
right,
last year.
and that's my point.
It's the same thing. They do this every year.
That's why I'm not panicking. I think this is still a good basketball team. I still think they can go on a run when they want to. They still have all the makings of a team that can win. They still have Tom Izzo on the bench. They still have elite guards when they want to be elite.
Yeah,
and
I don't even know if it's when they want to go on a run. It's if they get hot, they can go on a run down the stretch. I think if this team gets going, but looking at where they're at, there are two types of mediocre teams in college basketball. There's the mediocre team like North Carolina last year where you randomly beat really good teams and then get beat by really bad teams. And then there's the mediocre team that Michigan State has been this year, which is you beat everybody you should beat and you lose to everybody else.
And I think
And that's where they've been all year.
And looking at the bubble, like people worried about them missing the tournament, the teams on the bubble are not good basketball teams. Like this is, in all honesty, not a good season of college. Like there's some really good teams at the top, but like overall, there's a lot of garbage. Like right now, Providence, and I know they're not going to end up making the tournament. Providence sucks without who's their best player's name? He tore his ACL. Bryce Hopkins. Without him, they are awful. And now they beat Georgetown yesterday. Thank God. Otherwise, the city probably would have burned down and lost to Ed Cooley.
Oh, yeah,
also,
that
Ed
game
Cooley.
that atmosphere was insane.
Did you see Ed Cooley's press conference after the game?
I did not, but I saw the way that place was.
He basically said they should be thanking me for the place being that electric. Like I was like, you know what, dude?
Did you see?
It's
The president of
there's
Providence
so
sent
much
an
bad
email
blood.
out to like the student body about like to get them hyped up, and somebody turned it into a poster, and they like wrote out the email on a poster and highlighted certain words. It was hilarious.
Right now on the bubble, the last 4 buys are Nova, Northwestern, Mississippi State, and Colorado. I think Northwestern's better than. Don't think they should really be on the bubble. I get from a resume standpoint. The last 4 teams.
Well, the only reason Northwestern's on the bubble is because they have the worst loss
they
in
did
college
lose to
basketball.
Chicago State, Boise State, Texas. Texas is not a good basketball team. They cannot beat anybody with a pulse. Didn't they just
Disagree on that, but they just beat Baylor and Oklahoma on the road. They beat Baylor at home and Oklahoma on the road. Yes, they lost to BYU yesterday, and they do have some not great losses, and they don't have that many great wins.
Who's a point guard at
But
UT?
It's Max
Abmas.
Abmas. They lost to West Virginia and UCF.
Yeah, that's what I
Kansas also lost to West Virginia and UCF.
They lost at home to UCF. Like that's not a
You're
good
right,
loss.
but I'm
they
saying
got blown out by
Kansas
the
lost
fraud
to both
Shaka
teams
Smart.
that you just said.
They beat Louisville by 1.
Oh gosh.
A win is
That's
a win.
That's a loss. That's a loss. I'm sorry.
It's
not like they played
anyways,
you have like Florida and Virginia still on the bubble. Those teams can't buy a basket.
Can we get back to the subject at hand, though?
I'm sorry. I'm just saying that college basketball kind of sucks. There's nothing to worry about.
No.
And we can get into that in a minute, though, because we are going to transition to around the country after this thought.
I just think we should close out with this, though.
Yes.
I think, like I said, this team is fine right now, but I think they're still in this purgatory because it's like they're good enough to beat the teams that they're supposed to, and they're not good enough to beat the teams that, on paper, they're supposed to be just as good as.
Yeah, and I think if you're looking at this group right now and where they can go going forward, you never really know, because going into the tournament, and I guess to somewhat put some sort of notice towards the point of they might miss the tournament, your tournament resume at the end of the year can't just be not having any bad losses.
Right.
Like, that can't be your resume. That's not going to be enough. Well, it might be enough this year because of Michigan State's light schedule in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Like, they could only lose to Illinois and Purdue and beat everybody else, or even lose to Illinois, Purdue, and Indiana and beat everybody else. And they are, at that point, I think, at 12-8 in the Big Ten, still in the NCAA tournament. Because that would give them, 8 more wins and 3 more losses, and so you're at 8-3 from there. You're looking at a 20-11 record going into the Big Ten tournament, and that gets you into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it does. And I'm
not saying that's ideal,
right.
but it
my
gets
last thought is Tom Izzo still gets to pick up his 700th win at home, which will be pretty cool to see against a bad Michigan basketball team. I'm so excited for Tuesday. I can't wait to see Juwan Howard, my best buddy.
If Michigan State loses that game, then the panic button will be hit.
If they lose that game, I'm burning. So I'm not going to finish that thought. But hey, Juwan, if you have any thoughts on unemployment in the state of Michigan, I know quite a bit.
All right,
I do.
All right.
If he has any questions, I can answer them.
All right.
Michigan, the state of Michigan, not ideal place to be on unemployment. But hey,
all right.
Whatever you want to do,
I'm interested
Juwan.
to see how Jaden Akins finishes off the rest of this season. I think that'll be telling, and they're gonna need him, especially going into the tournament.
I think they're gonna play Booker more. To be honest with you,
I
hope they play Booker and Kohler more than they have. Yes, I get that it was the final 5 minutes of a blowout with where Booker just played. I completely understand that. Don't get me wrong, but at this point, you need a spark and you need a change. And Xavier Booker and Jackson Kohler, honestly, more Kohler than Booker, give you that ability.
I don't think you have anything to lose either.
Against any team that isn't, Zach Edey, I'm trying to think of the other elite bigs in this conference. Not that I want to give
You're
up.
not going to like the other name, but the other name that is an elite big in this conference is Coleman Hawkins right now.
Yeah, yes, he is. I'm just more thinking along the lines of, I know Izzo is worried about the defensive end with Booker. Not that I don't want to ever give up anything on defense, but at the same time, Booker offensively just gives you something that nobody else on this team gives you. And he is long enough. And
as long as he can settle in enough to not do what he was doing in some of those earlier games where he would get big stretches and he wasn't playing defense, but he was also turning the basketball over.
Right.
And you can't do that.
Yeah,
if
that's the
he's
bigger
able
issue.
to not turn the ball over and get his shots, he gives them a pick and pop element that they haven't had since maybe Adrian Payne, Draymond Green.
Jaren Jackson.
Jaren Jackson, but Jaren Jackson, I think, he wasn't like, I don't know, he was different.
They're
in that
different
spot.
players, yes, but I still think they
Jaren
haven't
was
had
really
a big.
raw when he was here. He could just do
And
it.
Booker,
Booker is too.
Booker is even more raw.
Yeah, no, but never mind.
Yeah.
Jaron
No,
was
I get what
Jaren's
you're
like
saying,
medium
compared
rare.
to where he's at now.
Jesus Christ.
But let's move around the country,
AJ
though.
is
Let's
not
go
entertaining.
into this kind of week. Top 10 teams on the road versus unranked teams this year, winning at only a 38% clip. That's kind of ridiculous. It's just no one is able to win on the road right now.
Nobody.
Guess what? Purdue goes to Piscataway this afternoon.
That has been a guaranteed loss for them over the last few years. They're going to win that game this year. Ron Harper Jr. is not there anymore to hit game winners. I think that Rutgers loses that game.
Pounding
I don't think
nails.
Rutgers is very good. It does not spread.
Damn it.
Kentucky, Kansas, and Auburn all losing road games this week. And there were some wild games cross country yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught any of that Baylor TCU game, but that was insane. Triple overtime. Jacoby Walter in overtime hits the game tying shot, send it to double overtime. And a freshman that's going to be a lottery pick, he had missed his last 7 shots. He catches the ball off a pin down screen with 2 seconds left and has the poise to pump fake, let the defender go by, and then step in and knock down the shot. That was just really impressive, and those guys played a ton of minutes. And shout out Jameer Nelson Jr. He was a dog down the stretch for TCU, and Ray J. Dennis was playing out of his mind. Yeah, I mean, those guys both were going at it. Yves Missi was going at it too, and felt bad for Yves Missi in regulation because in the first overtime, Baylor ended up getting that shot from Jacoby Walter and tying the game. But Yves Missi had a career day, and Ray J. Dennis threw one of the best dimes I've seen in a long time. Goes under the basket, curling around, draws a double team, throws it between the double team to split him with the pass, and Yves Missi's right under the bucket. And he does what gave me a little bit of PTSD watching as a Michigan State basketball guy growing up. Watching Xavier Tillman got into a stretch where he did this, where he couldn't decide if he was going to lay the ball in or dunk it. And so instead he just laid it off the back iron because he got indecisive. And Missi missed the open shot that if he just dunked it, they are tied at that point and then have a chance to win it with a Walter 3 instead of tie it. And they ended up going into triple overtime and it was fine. But I felt bad watching that. I liked what Scott Drew did right after that, though, was they got right back to him and got him a dunk on the next possession, first possession of double overtime. But, yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. There were a lot of other great games. Did you guys see the Colorado State game, though?
No.
So Colorado State, you're laughing, but you're going to understand why I'm saying that. Like, I didn't know if you saw the highlights of it. I didn't watch it live. Colorado State was up 11 on the road at Wyoming with a minute to go and lost.
Love it.
They lost in overtime because they blew an 11-point lead.
What's going on out west?
Go Pokes. What's
Yeah, they blew
going on in the Mountain West?
They blew an 11-point lead because there was a shot and then a steal and then a three.
The Mountain West.
And then they split a pair. And then Wyoming got free throws, made the first, missed the second, offensive rebound, got fouled. Made the first, missed the second, offensive rebound, and then got a bucket to tie it. It was just one of the most wild sequences you'll ever see.
The Mountain West is quality basketball. It's a better conference than the ACC this year. So
I think that might be a stretch, but
other
I do agree with you.
Other than North Carolina, the ACC is awful.
I still don't know if I'm taking the Mountain West.
I do agree that the Mountain West is very
There's
good
some
basketball
really good
this year.
basketball
I
teams.
mean,
good basketball out there.
New Mexico's really good. Boise State's a wagon at home. Utah State's really good. Colorado State's solid. The Mountain West is really good. I don't think Wyoming's very good, but I still think I would take the ACC.
I like
when you're looking at North Carolina.
I do have an important question of mid-majors. Dayton lost to Richmond yesterday.
Yeah, that was tough.
Is Dayton? Are they good? I don't watch any Dayton basketball.
I
know people are comparing this team to the Obi Toppin team.
They're not the Obi Toppin team.
I'm like, I don't think they're that good. This team lost to Northwestern.
Well, also because that Obi Toppin team was more than just Obi Toppin, and I don't think people are talking about that.
Yeah.
Like they had some guys that transferred to other places and were really good. Where did I rank Dayton this week? Let me take a look at my rankings.
I
ranked Dayton 18th this week.
Yeah. I love the people who romanticize the 2020 March Madness that never happened because I'm somebody that thinks like all the teams that are like, oh, Dayton could have gone on a run, Michigan State could have gone on a run. I'm a firm believer that all of these teams would have just flamed out and lost to somebody they shouldn't have because somebody was going to. So I just take the side of.
I think that it would have been Kansas that would have lost. Flamed out.
They were elite at that time, but that's just.
The number one seed,
Kansas,
like the number one overall seed,
never wins.
Never wins. That Kansas team had some of the same guys they had when they won the title.
Who was their big man? He graduated in 20 because him and Tillman went at it in the Champions Classic. I'm pretty sure. Oh man,
Udoka Azubuike.
Yes, Udoka, dog.
Was on that team, and the 2020 Kansas roster.
Marcus Garrett was on that team.
Yeah, Abaji was on that team too, right?
Played against Marcus Garrett.
Yeah,
I forget. AJ was a hooper.
Not on our
IM basketball
we needed
team.
Him in the IM team.
That's
all we're going to say is we could have used AJ in that IM game on Thursday.
Still on PTO.
Hopefully Monday is better because
hard.
my goodness, we need to get AJ a max contract. But that
What's
team.
What's going to take AJ?
That team also had Devon Dotson.
Who's your agent?
Who's your agent?
I will reach out to your.
It's Scott. He's a Scott Boras client. That's why he's holding out and why he wants a bigger contract.
Most definitely.
I want to speak to your representation.
Man, I'm represented by Rich Paul, bro.
Rich Paul.
Goodness. All right. Well, I want to ask you guys this question, and then we're gonna take a break and get to the NBA. because we still got to get to some NFL talk and a lot of NFL talk later. Jack David waiting, standing by, our NFL correspondent, as always. But who is the best team in college basketball right now, and why?
I'm not saying Purdue. I'm not.
Don't say it.
I haven't been.
It's not true. So.
Yeah, I haven't
don't
been big
think
on
it's
Purdue. I think
Although those guards are still underrated.
they're not. I'm not going to go as far to say as they're the best team. You have them on here, but I think Houston is definitely up there.
I was watching Houston yesterday. I know Kansas State isn't good.
Houston's so good.
But man, this might be the year. Like this,
They're really good.
because this is their.
But they still lost to Iowa State, who I will maintain are frauds, even though they're actually pretty good. But I thought they were fraudulent.
That's how I feel about Purdue.
Iowa State didn't play anybody at the beginning of the year, and they were like number 5 in the net because they blew out bad teams and lost to the only good teams they played. And so I maintained that they were frauds. And then they beat Houston at home, and then they beat Kansas, and then they beat somebody else. And so, like, I continue to, like, say Iowa State is fraudulent. But that's really similar to last year when I maintained throughout the entire season that San Francisco, the 49ers, were fraudulent because I thought they were fraudulent at the beginning of the year. And so I maintained it, even though I knew they were not. Iowa State's not actually that fraudulent. But, no, Houston's
really
Houston,
good.
I think... I don't want to say UConn.
I'm going to say UConn.
I don't want to say UConn.
I'm going to say
Good.
UConn.
I'll say Houston. I think this is
You'll
their
say
year.
Houston?
This might be the
I
year.
want to say Houston, but I think here's the thing. It goes back to something you were saying, Matt. A lot of these teams to me are hovering around the top, but I don't think anybody's been able to separate.
The
from
only
the rest
other
of the
one
pack.
I would put in that group with Houston, UConn would be UNC. I don't know what it is. I like the way they play. Now the ACC is not a good basketball conference this year for like the 5th year in a row. But
I really like their
like
point
since
guard. Their
COVID
point guard's
happened,
really good.
the ACC has been awful.
I'm going to say a team that I think is playing as well as anybody in basketball right now, and I think has the best player
I guarantee
in
you
college basketball.
they're frauds. I don't know who you're going to say. He can't win in March.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Rick Barnes and the Volunteers.
I am talking about the Volunteers, and I didn't say they were going to win. If you look at the question, this says who is the best
right
team
now?
in college basketball
Yeah.
right now? And I think the answer is Tennessee because I think Dalton Connect is better than anybody else in the country.
Right now it's Kansas basketball because they're great in January and then they fall
They just
apart.
lost yesterday.
Did
to
they
Iowa
lose?
State.
Oh, they did lose that. They
'Cause
did lose
hints
yesterday.
and magic. But
true.
no, Tennessee is a wagon. I mean, Dalton Connect is on another level. How that guy was playing in the Big Sky last year is beyond me.
Shout out Damian Lillard.
Yeah, I watched Weber State yesterday because I'm a college basketball sicko. They choked to Idaho State, who is not very good. They
Big
started
Sky.
chucking threes when they fell down 3, and I was watching it saying, Damian Lillard's not walking through that door, guys.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, no, I think Tennessee is legit. I think they're the best team in the SEC, and I think they're, right now, playing better than anyone else in the country. Give me the Volunteers and give me Dalton Connect because nobody can stop him.
Yeah,
Now,
his game
there
is
are
really
some
complete.
possessions when you watch Tennessee and they go like 4-minute stretches where they forget that Dalton Connect's on their team. And I feel like most of that happens when Santiago Vescovi's in the game. No disrespect to Vescovi because he's very good. But Vescovi was the guy on that team last year, and now he's not. But it feels like he still tries to be sometimes when he's in the game. And so they just don't give the ball to Connect. And then Vescovi goes to the bench for 2 minutes, and then Connect scores 11 points in that 2-minute span. And it's like this guy just doesn't miss when he gets going. I mean, the game he put up against Florida a few weeks ago, I was watching that when I was headed down. Actually, I was headed back from Florida. So I was driving through Gainesville watching Dalton Connect light up Florida. That was an electric performance. But I'm taking Tennessee. All right, that'll do it for college basketball. We're going to step aside, come back. Joe Dez will be joining us on the mics to talk some NBA. What a wild week around the association. This is the Green and White Report on WDBM. Welcome back to the Green and White Report on WDBM. Time to talk NBA. We're going to keep the basketball train going. What a wild week in the NBA. I know, AJ, we've been wanting to talk some NBA for a while. Got to get into some good stuff here midway through the season. And Joe Dez is joining us as well on the mic. And let's start with Adrian Griffin. I know that's not the first thing on the sheet, but let's start with Adrian Griffin. The Bucks at 30-13, firing Adrian Griffin and going to Doc Rivers.
It's obvious to me that he had lost the locker room. I don't know if you guys saw, but James Edwards, the beat writer for The Athletic, covers the Pistons, said that the Bucks had buyer's remorse pretty much right after it happened. Just not too surprising. I was really big on this hire. I thought, Griffin was a guy who had been pegged for a couple of jobs, and I thought this was a really good spot for him. I love seeing first year head coaches get, good opportunities where they can come in and immediately sort of make their mark, because it's like you're on one spectrum or the other. You're either inheriting a really bad team, bad situation, or a really good one.
Right.
So, but it was obvious to me that he had lost the locker room. Frankly, I don't even know if he ever had it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a story about Terry Stotts, the assistant coach.
Yeah, he just quit.
Yeah, but did you hear about what happened?
I did not. I saw he quit in like a preseason game during a shoot-around fight.
Yeah, apparently it was something along the lines of Stotts was walking with Giannis and Dame away from the shoot-around after they had like broken out, and Adrian wanted to meet with the coaches like at center court. He told Stotts to come over. Stotts said, as soon as I'm done talking. Griffin was like, no, get over here now, and it escalated pretty quickly, from what I read. But I think which sounds kind of ridiculous. But looking at, you lose Stotts, who was obviously really close with Dame,
right? And
then, Giannis.
Because Stotts came over from Portland, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He hadn't been coaching for about a year.
But he was in Portland.
Yeah. So, yeah, it seemed like a pretty bad situation that had been kind of building from behind the scenes. So I was surprised, but at the same time not surprised, especially when everything came out quickly after.
Yeah. Joe Dez, thoughts?
Yeah, he definitely lost the locker room. The best tweets I saw about it, though, were saying that he got fired because he tried cutting Thanasis, like Giannis' brother.
I saw somebody say that they weren't that close with the Pistons because they had just beat the Pistons by like 8 both nights in a row. It was one of the Pistons writers that said it. I was just like, oh my goodness, that was unnecessary. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they go. But AJ, what are your thoughts on the Doc Rivers hire?
Man, Doc is interesting for me. I've never really had too many gripes with him. I mean, obviously he cannot win in the playoffs. He's really struggled to make adjustments. So a lot of his collapses have been inexcusable.
That 2008 championship is holding him on by a thread.
It's holding him on by a thread. And so I think this is his last chance, man. This is his last chance. All of the talent has been there. Situationally, he's had some really, really good teams.
Yeah.
And so now you got to go out and win. And this isn't an ideal situation, but at the same time, I don't think there is one around the league. There never is with any franchise. Every franchise is going to have its issues. You got to find a way to manage these stars, which he's capable of doing. But at this point, honestly, bro, the Bucks could win every game for the rest of the regular season. I won't care. What they do in the playoffs is going to say everything. This team has got to win in the playoffs, and Doc has to win in the playoffs.
I saw another clip that somebody posted of like somebody printing money, and it said me going to the sports book when the Bucks have a 3-1 lead after hiring Doc Rivers.
Did you guys see real quick the fact they're paying 3 coaches right now with that Doc Rivers hire? The Bucks.
Are they?
They've got 3 coaches on payroll. Budenholzer, then obviously Adrian Griffin.
They're still paying.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'm friends with a pretty big Bucks fan, and I was working with him for the same baseball team when the Bucks won their title, and he could not stand Mike Budenholzer. Like, he was calling for him to be fired during that Nets series when they were down. They came back and won. They won the title. He was hype, and then he was like, I don't care. We won in spite of him, not because of him. Get this guy gone.
Me when the Colts win a Super Bowl next year.
One guy,
Anthony Richardson.
One guy too, though. I'm not necessarily concerned, but with Giannis, I'm starting to wonder. Okay, what's going on here? You know what I mean? You obviously signed off on this Griffin hire. It doesn't work out after a little more than half of the season. I don't care what anybody says. We all know how the league works. It's like you signed off on that. You signed off on him coming there. You signed off on him leaving. Now you got Doc.
Who you had to sign off on.
Right, who you obviously had to sign off on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I'm starting to get, I guess, a little bit concerned about what's going on with Giannis and his camp and his relationship with some of these coaches.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very real question to look at and kind of see. We'll see where they go. I mean, the East is going to be interesting with the teams down the stretch.
It is.
Let's talk about some of these offensive performances this week. Embiid and Cat, 70 and 63 on Monday. And then you get to Friday. Well, first you get to, Wednesday that the Suns and Mavs played each other. And there was all that controversy about Luka asking for the guy to get ejected in the Booker jersey and all of that stuff.
With the beat writer after.
Yeah. And then both Luka and D-Book go off in their next games. I mean, Luka for 73. To be honest with you, if the Mavs could make a layup, he would have had a 70-point triple-double. And the Hawks were triple-teaming Luka under his own basket in the fourth quarter, the final 5 minutes.
Look like, I'm sorry, I was like,
yeah,
they look like hot mess.
They're brutal.
On some possessions. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that was the most efficient 70-point game we've ever seen. I mean, he missed, 7 shots?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, if you look at this performance, is this the most impressive single-game performance ever in NBA history?
From Luka?
Yeah.
I think you could say so. But to me, I think, not say there's an asterisk next to it, but the Hawks just look so bad. That was what was bothering me. Like, like there were some possessions where I was like, what is going on here? There's like no defense being played
bad
at all. I mean, and also too, just on a greater scale, we'll get into it a little bit more, but there's so much talent around the league, and I feel like there's a difference in opinion right now around the NBA. A lot of people are saying, there's no intensity, guys aren't playing defense. I think a lot of these guys are just incredibly skilled, and the skill level is at an all-time high right now. We have guys playing positions 1 through 5 that can do literally everything on the floor and that are interchangeable in all of these different sets. And as a result, we're seeing all kinds of shots, and I think guys putting on performances that we otherwise wouldn't see.
Did you see the behind the backboard shot by Luka during those 73?
It was.
I did.
Yeah, he did like the Kobe fadeaway behind. It's insane.
He's just ridiculous.
He's insane.
D-Book had a big game as well, but both Booker and Cat's games were in losses. Yeah. I loved Anthony Edwards' quote after the game. I don't know if you guys saw it, but right after the game, he was honest with the reporters. He was like, I won't lie to you. We stopped trying and stopped caring because we wanted to see Cat get 100. And so he said they didn't really care if they won or lost that game. They just wanted to see Cat get to 100.
I love Ant.
And so they lost that game. Then they lost to the Spurs last night too, actually. Wemby and company tried their best to not win that game because they couldn't make a free throw down the stretch. But I caught the final 2 minutes of that game. And what Wemby did, though, I mean, you should not be able to be a 7'5" guy hitting a sham god into the lane.
Yeah.
It's just, that should be outlawed.
Ridiculous.
But, yeah, either way, that game was crazy. Let's talk a little bit about Rivals Week, though. Do you guys like it? Do you guys not like it? Do you guys not care?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm cool with it. I like it.
I think it's cool in some ways. Like, I think some of the rivalry games, like putting Curry and LeBron at each other and going Lakers-Celtics, Knicks-Nets, some of those games are cool. Some of them I feel like are forced. Like Grizzlies-Timberwolves is not a rivalry just because they had that one playoff series and those guys don't like each other. That's not a rivalry.
And nobody liked the Grizzlies.
Right. And Mavs-Suns, I get it that Luka has owned Devin Booker and the Suns. But that's also not a rivalry in my mind. Not yet.
Not yet.
And so, because of that, that's kind of where I'm unsure on it. But I think it's okay as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's okay. And I think, obviously, some of them will have to be forced, for an entire
to make
week.
It work.
Yeah, to make it work. But I think the ones at the top that you mentioned, like, those are really good and made for some really good basketball. So, I'm a fan of it.
It did.
Yeah, I think Silver's doing a good job selling some narratives right now, trying to sell like some rivalries for the future.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be LeBron versus Curry. They're trying to
extension too.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to get Luka versus Devin Booker to be the big thing.
Somebody posted a photoshopped meme of Barack Obama putting a Medal of Freedom on Barack Obama when he got the extension. But midway through the season, let's go through a couple of quick things. Who's been your biggest surprise this year? It can be a player or a team.
Ooh. That's tough. I think for me they're a handful. But off the top of my head, if I'm being completely honest, we talked about it, but it's been surprising just to see it come into fruition the way it has. I'm sure I can come up with a better one a little bit later, but to see the Thunder play this well and to see them be this good has been good for me. And not to say I wasn't surprised by it, but like I didn't know if it would happen this fast.
I'm pretty sure I put them in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think
on
you
Courtside
did.
Combo because I was very open all the time about the fact that this team will be a top 4 seed in the West, and top 4 seed might not be high enough. This team might win the West in the regular season.
They just might,
which is a big deal if you got to play Denver because you don't want to play Denver in Denver.
Yeah, I agree. So to see everything happen this fast, Chet Holmgren's redshirt rookie season, and see Shea.
Redshirt rookie.
Redshirt rookie.
Honestly, though.
Yeah, to see Shea play as well as he has, like all of these guys, everything is just terrific right now. They're coached really well. And also, too, I think we just need to appreciate it for what it is because this is a team full of young guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of young teams and all the professional sports are broken up because, selfishness and guys want to be ahead of each other, and there's none of that right now. Now, this team is still in its infancy, like this young core, but I think if they can continue to just do what they're doing and, continue to work hard, something special will happen in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, AJ took the positive side. I'm going to take the negative side. That the Hawks have surprised me. Thought they were not going to be anywhere near as bad as they have been.
Yeah, that was where I was going next. Was your biggest disappointment?
Yeah, Hawks and Grizzlies.
And I feel
have
horrible
been,
for Quinn Snyder.
The Grizzlies, I feel like, is been injuries /
yeah, Ja's 25 games. Yeah,
because when Ja was back, the Grizzlies were like 7-2 in the games he played. Like they looked really good when they had their whole roster. They just don't have their whole roster. I will say, I think the Pistons have to be mentioned because they're 5-40, and so at the end of the day, like that has to be brought up for biggest disappointment. I saw it when there was I was reading ESPN's article on like midseason grades for the teams, and they were like the Pistons' 28-game losing streak. Or whatever it was. Was it 28? Whatever it was. Game losing game losing streak earned them the only F.
Yeah,
because you have to.
Yeah, that's by far I think the biggest disappointment.
But Pistons are hiding the Wizards though right now. Wizards have 8
Wizards
wins.
are 8-37.
Wizards are terrible.
Somebody did travel all the way from Germany to watch Killian Hayes play. I don't know if you guys saw that sign.
Yeah,
I thought that was
why Germany?
Just she was from Germany. She's German. Like,
well, I just meant Killian Hayes isn't German. He's French.
Oh.
So I would have thought it would have been like somebody traveling from France.
Germany still owns France. I don't know.
What the team he played for? The team he played for was in France, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
But are you sure?
I think
not 100%, but
I don't know.
For the limited basketball I do watch, I don't know. I mean, the Magic are fun.
The Magic are fun. They're a blast.
Their win song, their remix that they made.
Their social media is
amazing.
Killian played in Germany.
Timberwolves, Brazil.
Sense. Oh no, no.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
they got a response from the official Timberwolves page. Was the best part. The Timberwolves admin had seen them.
The Timberwolves admin needed to respond with one of the "Sir, this is a Wendy's" is what it needed to be. It's that's the response.
But anyways, the Magic are fun. They're not quite to the level of obviously what the Thunder are doing with their young core, but with Paolo. And as much as I hate him, Franz Wagner and Markelle is starting to
shout out Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz having probably the comeback story of all comeback stories where he was as close as a player can be to physically broken mentally, or I guess mentally broken just with his jump shot and everything. And obviously Philly's not an easy city to have high expectations in, and he's carved out.
And that's what Jason Tatum was doing too.
Yeah,
and they traded out of that pick, and Jason Tatum going insane right away, and forever being 19 years old will always have that there.
Not to mention, he shouldn't have been playing in the first place. He shouldn't have been playing in the first place. The medical staff.
Yeah.
Philly's medical staff put him out there. He should not have been playing.
Yeah, and that hurt them. And so we're going to see.
Cole Anthony, dog.
Other biggest disappointment for me has been probably, I'd say, the Raptors. I know this is a transitional year for them, but I think this was the final year where they were hoping things would sort of come together, and they never got over the hump with that core, and obviously they've gotten rid of their guys now.
The other teams that I want to give a quick shout-out to, one on the positive side, one on the negative side, the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton's a dog. The Pacers have been really good. Shout out Jack Moreland. He was all over the Pacers being the surprise team in the East.
He loves Tyrese.
And then in the West, both of the teams that played in one of the best basketball games I've ever watched last night have both been extremely disappointing. The Lakers, who are finally back above 500 because D'Angelo Russell's been on a tear, playing himself out of getting traded. Although I did see somebody make a joke about how if he hadn't hit that transition three with LeBron running with him, when he had just turned it over on 3 straight possessions, that they might have traded him before the game ended. But
bro, that's D'Lo's career, bro.
It is.
Things have gone just right for him to stay where he's at.
Yeah, just barely.
But
but those two teams have both been disappointing. Steph Curry is a monster. He keeps getting better.
Yeah.
He's been spectacular, but also the Warriors have been brutal. And so I don't know. Maybe Draymond being back is going to help them. I mean, he was plus 33 last night, plus minus, which is absurd.
Oh, 4 from 3.
For a double overtime game, though, to be plus 33, put up 8, 14, and 11, that was a solid game from Draymond, and that was what the Warriors needed. They went back to that small ball lineup. They started Draymond alongside Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, and Kuminga. And that was their closing lineup, too. Golden State very well might have won that game last night if Thompson didn't foul out.
Yeah.
Because Golden State had a chance for a dagger, and in transition, it was Brandon Podziemski trying to shoot the dagger three, up by 1 with 20 on the shot clock.
I really like him.
I do like Podziemski,
No,
but he's not
obviously,
that guy.
I didn't like the shot.
I would rather have Klay Thompson taking that shot.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson and Steph Curry are the only two guys on that team, and 2 of maybe like 10 guys in the league that I would want taking a shot up by 1 with 20 on the shot clock in transition. And Podziemski just isn't there. Shout out Santa Clara, though. They've been producing some NBA guys. But quickly, I want to get I want to get some award talks in before we take a break and get to NFL. Let's start with the awards, then we'll go to NBA first team, because I want to hear where your guys' midseason first team would be. But MVP.
Shea.
I love it. I don't think it's going to be, but I love it.
I know, right now,
it's going to be Embiid, but I love it being Shea. I mean, Embiid scored 30 in like 800 million games in a row. That is a very official stat, by the way.
Embiid's numbers are better than they were last year, weren't they? I mean, I know it's not all a numbers thing, but
Embiid has scored 30 in a row. 30 points, and I want to say like 25 straight games. Like, it's insane what he's done. Even when they just got blown out a couple games ago, he still had 31. They kept him in until he got to 30. Now, him sitting out yesterday against the Nuggets was not a good move. Richard Jefferson had a quote that I can't repeat on here about it, but you can check out that quote if you want. And I don't disagree with his quote.
Modern day Hakeem, though. Joel Embiid.
Yeah? I can see it.
Hakeem.
I can see it. I don't hate the comparison. Joe Dez, who's your MVP?
I have no comment. Like, I mean, I've never watched a live Hakeem Olajuwon play basketball. So
I mean, I don't think any of us can remember watching a live Hakeem Olajuwon play basketball.
AJ's
but we
got
watched
the wisdom
highlights
to know.
of, and like not just highlights, but like games of.
From what
YouTube
YouTube has shown me,
right?
Modern day Hakeem.
Yeah, there you go. All right,
it's definitely Embiid's award to lose. Embiid is every game is almost 30. He dropped 70 as well.
Yeah,
it makes me angry because I keep expecting one year people will figure out Embiid, and that never happens. He's just still killing it. Gets to the free throw line as much as he wants to if he needs to. And it's not even like he's
What does it
fully
make you
flopping.
angry for? It's just a free elimination for you guys in the playoffs. You eliminate them
in the
every
playoffs,
year.
it's great. It's just in the regular season, there's no awards for Tatum. Tatum's just stuck with no MVPs.
Yeah, and he's going to be stuck with no MVP. I don't know that he will, man.
Yeah, with his team now, I'm not sure. Just because of the way they have to share the ball. It's going to be championships or MVPs, probably not both. Which
maybe
sucks.
I just think the rest of the league
or none.
Shea's gonna get an MVP.
Don't say that
at some point. Yeah,
Luka's
Joe
definitely
Dez can't
one.
handle it.
You can't be saying Shea's gonna
one.
get one, and then Tatum's not. Though I feel like Shea's gonna have 5 guys who are coming up with him who are gonna be demanding the ball after this year.
Yeah, those guys are going to be traded if they can't. Like Josh Giddey is not going to be on that roster if he doesn't let SGA run the
He'll be in a penitentiary.
I don't mean because of. I don't mean at all because of his stuff. Because supposedly.
No, but Josh Giddey was like the last player I meant like Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, like those guys. I did not mean
but
Josh
those guys.
Giddey.
No, but I'm talking about ball dominant players. Like Giddey as their point guard, along with him, is a ball dominant player. Jalen Williams is going to give SGA assists, but if you think SGA is still not going to average 30 with those guys, like just with the way SGA is,
Giddey's kind of been a clunky fit next to SGA.
Yeah,
I don't
think Giddey was a good fit anyway. I more have meant the fact that with Tatum, people thought when he was like 20, 21, at some point he was going to be averaging. He was averaging like 31 year, but his numbers have gone down now that his other teammates are so good as well. I think just having that many teammates to share the ball with, he won't win MVP.
I just think SGA's more of a ball dominant. He's more of a point guard. And
yeah,
so he's got the ball in his
sure,
hands more than Tatum does. Not that Tatum doesn't ever have the ball in his hands, because Tatum still does, and Tatum's a baller. But, like, I think that's where you're going to see the difference. Also, to be honest with you, I think that the Celtics, I think that the league is kind of sick of the major market MVPs all the time.
Yeah.
And so, not like completely, but I think you're going to see SGA get one before Tatum gets one.
Yeah, well, there's also a real chance he wins it this year, and that would just ruin
SGA. Yeah,
like ruin everything I just said the last 2 months.
I think it'd be tough for him to win it because I think he's behind Embiid. I think he's behind Jokic. I think he's behind Luka, and then it's SGA. Even though I would love it to be SGA because I think there's a very real conversation that needs to be had about SGA being the best guard in the league because SGA went from a very good offensive guard to an elite defensive guard as well.
Yeah.
I think SGA is the best two-way guard in the league. I don't know, AJ, if you agree.
Best two-way guard.
But I think he is the best two-way guard in the league.
I think there's better defensive solely, but not two-way.
There are,
So
but
I do
two-way.
agree
No,
two-way,
no,
yes.
Yeah, he's the best two-way guard.
And so that's where that's at for me. Defensive player of the year.
DPOY.
Is it too much to say Wemby?
It's not,
think
is what's
so.
messed up.
I mean, like, he leads the league in blocks. I mean, I made predictions before the year about, like, who would lead the league in each category. And the three that I picked that I felt most confident in were Curry in threes made per game, obviously, Halliburton in assists, and Wemby in blocks. And all three of those right now look like that's probably going to be the case. And Wemby's averaging over 3 blocks a game. He's been an elite rim protector. I think that, but at this point, if he's going to win it this year, he might. If you're going to give it to him just because he's leading the league in blocks, you're going to give it to him for the next 10 years.
DPOY. Well, I don't know because he still had some. He's still lagged at times on defense, like just with simple stuff, closeouts and making the right reads, stuff like that. So I think we'll be able to see improvements in that aspect, and he'll get better and better. But no, I think he's DPOY right now. I can't think of anyone else.
You think Wemby's a favorite for DPOY?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's
know what the
Gobert.
actual-
It's got
Gobert?
it's got to be Gobert.
Ooh.
Just because the amount they brought up the Timberwolves defense from last year, this year.
No, you're,
You mean last year when he was still on the team?
Last year, his first year adjusting
I'm
to it.
glad
though.
that worked out because
That's fair.
for a minute I was like, whoa.
Let's see who is the favorite.
And last
Imagine-
year they had a weirdly high defensive efficiency, so I should say the year before last year.
Actually, whoa, Wemby's not even in the top.
Yeah, he's like number 10. I just looked that
Yeah,
up too,
he's
man.
the 10th. Wemby is
Chet's
plus
above him.
6,000. Yeah, Chet's third plus 1,000. Another guy that's underrated that we haven't talked about defensive-wise, OG Anunoby
Oh, crazy.
is number 2.
See, I knew I was forgetting somebody. If the season were to end today with the way he's been playing, OG has my vote.
And with the way that
love the
he's
way he plays defense.
I
lifted
like
the
that.
Knicks in a deal that it looked like they were going to get. Also, I just want to point out, shout out the odds for Rookie of the Year. Wemby's minus 210. Chet is plus 175. There's only one other guy who has odds for it. Can either of you guess who it is? And he is plus 30,000.
Chet, OG,
Brandon Miller?
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year.
It's Wemby and Holmgren, and it's one other guy.
Marcus Sasser.
No.
I've got to think Miller. That's the only guy I can
No.
say. It's not Miller. No way.
Who?
Jaime Jaquez is plus 30,000. He's the only other guy with odds. And so if anybody would like to donate to
goodness, bro.
to any cause, I would suggest you donate it to charity instead of donate it. But $10 does win you $3,000 if Jaime Jaquez won the Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
So Rookie of the Year, are we all on Wemby?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to.
I would
Yeah.
think so. Let's go into clutch player quickly and then first team. I don't even know if you guys really have a clutch player thought, but I have one. And it's gonna come out, or it's gonna sound really weird until you look at the numbers. But
Clutch player. Off the top of my head, I have a guy. I don't know if the numbers will do him justice.
Who do you have?
But Halliburton has come through for the
Yeah.
Pacers so much this season. That's the guy who'd have my vote. Like I said, I don't know how the numbers look though. Those minutes.
Halliburton is 7th
Oh yeah.
in the odds on that. The guy that I think should be is 3rd, but his team's not winning enough games, and that is Steph Curry. Steph Curry leads in every clutch time stat in all of basketball. But Joe Dez, give yours, and I'll let you know who the favorite is.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, compared to the last few years, the least clutch player has been Tatum. Every like shot they've made in the last few seconds of the fourth has just been
Jason
brick.
Tatum
It's sad.
does have odds, but it's like he's like 6.
Yeah, not very good. Deontay Murray's hit a weird amount of game winners.
DeJounte Murray,
He's not
yeah.
gonna get clutch player of the year.
because they're bad.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have odds, and Trae Young does, weirdly. The favorite is Damian Lillard.
Really, Dame's the favorite.
Time.
Dame is the favorite, and then SGA.
Yeah,
and then
Shea makes
Steph.
sense.
And so, yeah. Also, shout out Tim Hardaway Jr., 6th man of the year, more than likely. But,
I'd probably say Shea or
Yeah.
Luka on them.
all right, but let's go first team. Rattle off your 5 guys.
First team, I'm going to go Shea.
Also, we can do it with positions just for the sake of it, even though it's
Positions.
not with positions normally. So just do guards and forwards
All
/
right.
centers. You can do 3 guards, 2 forwards if you want, or you can do 2 and 3.
3 guards. I'll go Shea. I'm gonna say Luka. Tatum. Embiid. That's 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, power forward.
I need another forward in there.
Forward or center.
Yeah, forward or a big.
Missing a big one, AJ.
You're missing 2 of them, actually.
I know I am. Who?
You're missing Jokic or Giannis.
Yeah.
Right. And
So-
I was about to say Jokic.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Jokic.
I'm going to go with SGA. I'm going to go with Luka. I'm going to go with Joel Embiid and Jokic as my 2 forwards. And I'm going to go with Tyrese Halliburton as a third guard.
I was gonna put
Over
Halliburton in
Giannis.
there, but I put.
It won't
Luka over
happen,
him.
but that's where I'm at right
Really?
now.
Okay.
And so we'll see. Joe Dez, go quickly, and then we're going to take a break and come back with some NFL talk.
Yeah, mine's pretty much exact same as AJ's besides one player. It's going to go Shea, Luka, Tatum, Giannis, and then Embiid.
Okay.
Pretty much same exact
No
as what
Nikola
I'm pretty sure
Jokic?
it was.
Wait, hold on. Say that one more time. SGA, Luka,
Yeah,
Tatum.
it might be the same as
Okay.
what the first team actually is. Or no, I'm thinking of All-Star right now.
Yeah, I was going to say
All-Star starters.
you have 2 guards in the West and 3 forwards from the
Yeah,
East.
yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Fun to talk NBA. Now we're going to step aside, come back, and talk NFL playoffs, conference championship games coming up right on tap on the Green and White Report. All right, it's time, everybody. NFL playoffs, NFC championship game. If you guys are watching on Twitch, you guys get to see my beautiful Joey Harrington jersey. Shout out Bo Nix before he
Ducks.
was Bo Nix at Oregon. Joey Harrington, legend, Lions legend. So shout out the Joey Harrington jersey. But Lions playing today in the NFC Championship. AJ, first we talked about it earlier, but for those that are new joining us, give us your feelings here right now, and then we're going to talk about the games last week and then the games today.
Man, I'm a wreck, man. Like I'm really nervous.
Are you more
super
excited or nervous?
Both, I'm guessing.
Both. I say excited right now. In a few hours, the nerves
Yeah,
will
I'm sure.
probably really kick in. But I'm super excited. This is so big for the state of Michigan, city of Detroit. Like regardless of whatever happens, I'm appreciative of the year that the Lions have given this state.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say. Let's get into last Sunday's games, though. The Lions and the Bucks. That was a crazy game.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions came out and got in front early. Never really fell behind, I believe, right? I don't think they ever trailed
The
in that
Bucks
game.
never led.
Yeah, they never trailed. They were tied a few times. But there were some big chances for the Lions to really break it open, and they finally did in the second half for a little bit. And then Baker got them cooking a little bit. And the Lions got the cover of the year by Baker failing that 2-point conversion.
And then them declining to call a timeout at the end of the game.
That
to
was terrible.
Possibly get the ball back. Just
I mean,
let the game
I think
go.
the logic behind it, which Badgley's such a bad kicker, he could have missed it, but the
logic
Lions
was
were
they were gonna make the kick.
The Lions were in field goal range.
Waving
so
the white flag to go.
I
to
agree.
the
Todd
conference
Bowles is
championship
puddle
game.
for that. And
Also,
I agree.
Badgley's not that bad.
He's not great.
yeah, but he's not good. He's not Justin Tucker. Like if it's
No,
Justin
he's
Tucker,
not
you'd be
Justin
like,
Tucker,
even
but-
then,
Yeah.
There's only one Justin Tucker. But I still agree they should have called a timeout, but also
Play
at
it
the
out.
same time,
Adam
you
Vinatieri,
play
by the
to
way.
win the game.
you do play to win the game. Yes, you do. But looking at some of the numbers in that, as Matt makes sure to turn our TV in here to Big East basketball, UConn is running Xavier out of the gym.
What are these Xavier throwbacks?
I don't know, but they're not working because it's 24-7 UConn already.
Reminds me of Pitt or something.
It does
Looks
look
like
like
it.
Pitt, and that's a weird X logo on the
Like
scoreboard.
an X and like a U?
If you're
Yeah, Xavier University.
Well,
yeah, but like it's just a weird logo. If you're looking at
Anyways,
Fox
back to
Sorry,
the
Yeah,
I,
Lions.
back to
I,
football.
I got us off track.
Back
I'm sorry.
to the subject at hand.
lost track when
That's my
Matt
bad.
turned on Big East basketball.
Future first weekend exit UConn Huskies.
Okay.
Anyways,
Goff, 30 of 43, 287 and 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs was really good. He had 111 total yards.
Spectacular, man.
Actually, more than 111. My math is
What-
not great, apparently. But 9 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown, 4 receptions for 31 yards. St. Brown, 8 catches, 77 yards and a touchdown. Sam Laporta always finds the end zone. He's a walking touchdown. But Mayfield put up good numbers, 26 of 41, 349 yards. The Lions giving up 300-plus yards to opposing quarterbacks. They've done it 5 straight weeks now.
6 coming up.
Oh, today. I was like, wait, no, it's
Yeah.
5. But Baker did throw 2 picks, including the costly one at the end that hurt them and ended that game for the most part. So Mike Evans had a huge game as well, 8 catches for 147 yards and a touchdown. Rashad White had a good game as well, over 90 scrimmage yards for him and a touchdown as well. But at the end of the day, the Lions able to take care of business at home and continue to move into this round.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, the first pick from Baker was off a deflection. I believe it
Yes,
was a
it
pass
was.
that should have been caught, and it wasn't.
It was. It was over the head of Mike Evans, slightly, but it should have been caught.
I hit him in the hands.
Yes,
and then, I get it. There was only a second game all year where he threw 2 picks, which Lions forced turnovers. I mean, good win for them, obviously, and he took care of business.
Somebody was a big hater last week, so
Yeah.
I was
And
gonna say,
hey,
Matt
and-
didn't
and-
think
and-
they were going
And
to
you were,
cover
and,
it
you,
now.
Matt, and you know what the thing was too. You were kind of like,
they-
I don't see
and
it.
what
I
happened-
don't see it.
now you know.
I thought that the Bucs were going to cover, and they didn't
because they didn't get the
because they didn't get a 2-point conversion. But I mean, I
that
thought
they
the
shouldn't
Lions
have went for, but that's a whole other story.
That's a completely different story. I thought the Lions were going to win. I was just scared that the Lions were overlooking the game, and I understand that they didn't.
You thought they were going to win?
I thought they were going to win. I thought
He did.
But
He
I
just
said
said the Bucs were
I
gonna
took the
cover.
Bucs to cover.
Yeah,
That's
he
all.
said they're gonna
he said
win,
he thought the
but-
Bucs cover was
but-
a lock. Although he was trying to antagonize you by saying that Baker was going to come beat them, but he was just trying to get under your
I think
skin.
I was just trying to get under your skin, but
Well, you did.
good. Thank you for letting
He
me
said
know.
mission accomplished.
Anyways, I mean, the Lions continue to take care of running backs. I don't think any running back has ran for over 100 yards against them this year. I believe that's the stat.
Yeah,
I
now
know
they also
CMC
haven't. No
probably right.
running back has also gotten 20 carries against them
because
either.
their pass
And
defense
so,
leaves a lot to be desired.
The most carries against them, I don't remember who had 19. Somebody had 19 a few weeks ago, and then Kenneth Walker had 17 back in week 2. But that's it. Nobody else has gotten. Oh, was it Williams? No, Williams only had 14.
I don't remember.
Carries. Anyways,
But
point remains.
I don't know. I mean, good win. Now you get San Francisco. We'll see what happens. I mean, the Niners did not look great last weekend, as we talked about last Sunday.
They didn't.
But I mean, I got not much else to add other than
They
win,
took care of
maybe.
business like we
I
thought
have
they were
some more
going to.
thoughts, but that can come later in the segment. But in terms of last week, took care of business at home. It was pretty good. And
Yeah.
actually, this is in support of the Lions. But anyways, if anybody else has any other thoughts, R.I.P. the Bills.
Yeah, we can move to the Bills. That game was a blast, though.
It was a blast.
But wide right just continues to haunt the Bills.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. I actually didn't. I had to look.
The
it
Four
up.
Falls of Buffalo.
But yeah, the wide right, the chip shot against the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 of them. Yeah. All right, being a Buffalo fan sucks.
I'm sure
yeah,
it
they're such
does.
nice people.
They're
from
nice
that.
people.
So such nice people, and they're never going to win.
I
a
feel
Super
so
Bowl.
bad for Josh Allen.
They're never going to. I don't.
Why?
Because Josh Allen just beat the Steelers and he's salty.
Yes,
Got
you're
it.
correct.
Got it.
No, he's
Let's be honest.
he's a good guy, very talented, but like, I mean,
But let's be honest. They beat the Steelers. and
he's
so Jack
not.
has to
No,
hold
no,
a
no, no.
grudge.
He's just not Mahomes, and you need to be Mahomes in this AFC. I mean, I guess the Ravens are favored today, but like, Mahomes is greatness, so you're not going to beat greatness.
You're not going to be greatness.
I mean,
You're going to
unless
start
Tyler
glazing
Bass made the
Mahomes
field
like
goal,
you're
maybe.
Collinsworth
I
or
am the biggest glacier of
or
Mahomes.
Tony Romo.
All right.
Anyways,
Josh Allen had a good game though.
that
Yeah,
analysis
he
is
played
for
39.
Mahomie.
186 and a score through the air, 72 and 2 scores on the ground. He was everything they needed him to be.
I will add, he should have had about 60 more yards. I don't know what Stephon Diggs is doing. We got to catch the ball. I mean, that was the most prettiest pass I've ever seen live on television because they followed that ball. It felt like it touched like the moon, and it just went through Stephon Diggs' hands. For as
Yeah,
much
he
as
dropped
he
the
talks, he usually walks. He didn't. I don't know what. Like, he got to catch that ball. You're Stephon Diggs, but yeah,
Yeah, no, he
Rough
he
game.
Just catch the
dropped
ball,
a dime
bro.
there.
just catch it.
Yeah,
Just like
be
kickers.
Just
better.
catch it. Just catch the football.
Just like kickers. Like, why do kickers miss?
Oh,
Why
goodness.
do
We're not going
kickers
there.
miss?
But yeah, that touchdown drive though for the Bills, I kind of want to talk about the way that went because really the Bills were moving the ball, but they couldn't run it. Every time they were handing it off to James Cook, he wasn't going anywhere on that drive. So why did they hand it to him on first and second down when they got close? Because, well, I mean, I know why, because they didn't want to give Mahomes any time. But you cost yourself a chance to win the game and forced yourself into a 44-yard field goal with a lot of pressure because you were that scared about giving Patrick Mahomes the ball back.
True. Yeah, I mean, you would think they would just like that entire drive just like going. I know like you want to keep the ball away from Mahomes, but like Mahomes is pretty like inevitable. So just
It's
go
inevitable.
score a touchdown. He
Mahomes,
is.
I
is,
mean,
he
he
is
is.
Thanos.
I mean,
Legitimately
to be
is.
completely
So is Lamar
fair,
Jackson going to be? So is Lamar Jackson going to be Iron Man today?
We'll get into our picks
I
later.
just-
I'm
I'm
pretty
sorry,
torn on that,
But the Chiefs' offense, I understand. Like 2 years ago when they had Tyreek, 20 seconds is 19 too many seconds for them, or 20 too many seconds to be honest. But I don't think that offense is that. Not that it's not explosive, but I don't.
they do have one of the best tight ends ever. Also,
But
I know he's.
the-
I know he's
but
the
in a-
best.
tight
But in a
end ever.
situation where you're trying to rush down the field,
The best tight end ever.
Okay,
I don't know if he's the best.
he's best receiving tight end ever.
Correct. I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. We're
Well,
not
yeah,
talking
but-
about him blocking 20
yeah, but
seconds
that's part
to
of
down
the
the field.
that's part of the position.
Right,
I mean,
but
yeah.
I'm talking about it from a receiving point.
Okay.
He is the best receiving tight end ever.
Yes.
That was what I was saying.
Okay, fair.
Anyways, but the point being is I don't think this Chiefs offense. I mean, I
don't
knew
think it
the
should
Chiefs. The
scare you?
Chiefs were going to win that football game simply because Kadarius Toney was not playing. Is he
Kadarius Toney's been ruled
He's
out
also
today.
not
Is he
playing
out?
today. So
Chiefs money line, hammer it.
Yeah.
Somebody said advantage Chiefs.
It
as
is
soon
an
as they
advantage for the
said,
Chiefs.
Kadarius Toney was out. I was like,
The guy
come on,
stinks.
guys. Come on, man.
He looks. No, I'm not
no,
gonna.
no, go
When he
there.
wears the scheme,
No.
he looks.
Okay.
Anyways,
You know where I'm going with this, but
Anyways, yeah, it just wasn't the Bills' year again. Which
No,
is it ever
which
going to be the
feels
Bills'
like
year?
every year.
It's
is
weird
just
though
not the
because
Bills'
we
year.
thought we knew it wasn't early in the year. They looked
Yeah.
awful. Then they fired their offensive coordinator. Then it's like, oh, maybe it is their year
Then
again.
they
I
look
kind
like
of
the
bought
best
in,
team.
and then they lose to Mahomes once again at home this time.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs probably not a Bill anymore. So
Where's he
sad.
going to go?
I don't know.
Like,
Future Lion.
Dallas Cowboy. Go play with his brother.
No.
I could see him be
I don't
I
think so.
very easily could see him be a Dallas Cowboy.
I mean, he wouldn't want to be the second fiddle to CD Lamb,
Right.
which he would have to be. But I just
Theoretically,
with
yeah.
his brother and stuff, I
CD.
could see him.
Yeah. We'll see.
Imagine Josh Allen throwing to Gabe Davis and Khalil Shakir. I guess he's got Dalton Kincaid, but man, what an offense.
And
I think you're gonna have
And
Brian
Dawson Knox.
Thomas next year too.
Dawson Knox is kind of seeing his way out of town with Kincaid, but
probably.
yeah, Chiefs Ravens though.
Yeah.
Yummy.
Let's talk about this. Let's start with the Ravens. Lamar's going to win MVP. He's been spectacular. They beat Houston last week after the bye.
And handled them.
Yes, they did. And Jackson accounted for 4 touchdowns against Houston. These teams haven't met this season, but Mahomes is 3-1 all time against Lamar. But the last meeting, Lamar dominated and flipped into the end zone. I don't know if you guys remember that at all, but he flipped into the end zone to
remember that.
cap it off. Baltimore's defense, best defense in football. They give up less than 17 points a game. The weapons might not jump off the page, though, but Zay Flowers and OBJ have been really good.
And they're also getting Mark Andrews back, which is huge.
It is.
I don't know how healthy he's and how
Right.
effective he's going to be, but that's still huge.
Yeah, the big thing is going to be, can Kansas City force them to run the ball with their running backs?
And not Lamar.
If you can make Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Dalvin Cook beat you, and this is not Dalvin Cook from 5 years ago, Dalvin Cook beat you, then fair play to you if they beat you.
Yep.
I think that's how the Chiefs have to play this game, because
I agree.
the Ravens, if you allow Lamar to get in space and make plays and cook, they're going to beat you.
Yeah, I might say he's definitely the best quarterback in space ever, at least one or two. Honestly, just one of the best players in space in the history of NFL. Period.
I mean, I could see it.
Yeah, we need huge games from L'Jarius Sneed, who's having a career year. He's one of the best lockdown corners in the league. Trent McDuffie, slot corner. I mean, they got to shut down these wide receivers to force the actual running, to give it to the running backs, like you mentioned. But yeah, it's going to be a really close game. This is truly this is the biggest toss up I think of this entire playoff so far.
It's going to be a very fun game. I think last week was a really big toss-up
I
as well
think
for the Chiefs.
That too, yes.
But Nick Bolton, I think, is the key to this game. Because Nick Bolton, I think, is the guy that they're,
like
along with maybe Willie Gay, that they're going to put as the spy on Lamar. And those guys have to be able to contain him. If they can keep contain, the Chiefs have a very good shot to win this game. But it is a million times much easier said than done to keep contain rather than to let Lamar go loose, because he will go loose. I know this is off topic, but I am going to mention, I just looked at the TV. It's 36-7 UConn right now. Maybe UConn is the best team in college basketball.
Hey,
For
I said
now.
it. Who said it? Who said it?
Who said it?
Who said it?
AJ said it.
He said it.
But let's get to the Chiefs side of things though. Unless you guys have any thoughts on the Ravens specifically.
I mean, I think they're the best team remaining. I don't think that's. I think this game isn't as close or as much of a toss-up as last week's was between Bills and Chiefs. the Chiefs are good, and maybe this is the weekend where the defense like shows that they are much improved, which they have been all year, and they kind of get that recognition. But the Ravens have been so good all year. I still kind of buy into the whole Super Bowl logo theory.
I don't buy it.
I buy
We're
into
not
it a little
going to
bit.
push conspiracy theories on this.
I'm not in on that theory.
We've pushed
but
worse than conspiracy theories
we
on
have.
these airwaves, but if the Ravens come out and play the way they're supposed to play, they're not losing this football at home. I don't think the Chiefs match up quite as well against the Ravens, but we'll see. I mean, if you guys have thoughts about
what do you
the
think,
Chiefs.
Joe?
I think we just gotta say as fans, I feel like everyone should be able to agree that Lions versus Ravens for the Super Bowl, so much more just something that you'd want more than seeing another Chiefs versus 49ers Super Bowl. I don't want that again.
To be fair, I just don't want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with Taylor Swift, like none of that crap. I just like
Eminem
tired of
and
it?
Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl.
Chiefs just
Lions
don't-
Chiefs.
they just
don't-
NFL
shady.
ratings galore.
That'd be pretty cool. That would actually be pretty cool.
their offense is good, but it's not what it was. They're just like, I don't know. They just don't do it for me. Like the Ravens are an exciting football team. The Chiefs don't excite me.
But when Chiefs win, it feels like they shouldn't win a lot of the time. Like it's not even people can argue calls and stuff, but still they like luck into a lot of wins.
Good teams find ways to win, and that's what matters. But yeah, I would agree. They don't I don't know. They don't stand off the page when they win their
they
games
don't.
like other teams. But I mean, we can still talk about the Chiefs. But
I just don't want that Super Bowl matchup, 49ers Chiefs again.
I just want to
it's
see
boring.
Detroit in the Super Bowl.
Fair.
That's about it.
That's
that
all
I care about. But talking the Chiefs here, Mahomes. What is this now? 5 straight AFC Championship games for Mahomes.
something like that.
And he's really looking to get himself further into conversation with some legends if they can get to, and especially if they can win another Super Bowl this year. That'd be 3 of the last 5.
I think if he wins a third one, there's a conversation that he's the third best quarterback of all time.
If he wins a third one, I think it becomes an argument closer if he's the best quarterback.
No,
of all time.
don't do that. Man. Come on.
Okay, now
So because he has not only does he have the championship side of things. I know it's not the 7 rings that Brady has,
and now he has the talent.
but he has the like you watch him and you go, that's. I don't think I've watched a quarterback with the arm talent, but he doesn't have like the gunslinger mentality that Favre and Allen have, where they turn he doesn't turn the ball over, but he's got the arm talent to make any throw. His teams win. Like I truly think if he can win a Super Bowl, I think the argument's there. Because 7 Super Bowls is like Bill Russell level. You're never going to touch that.
So I don't think that the conversation becomes if he wins this Super Bowl at 3, whether he is. I think the conversation becomes can he catch Brady, and I think that there's that conversation is a yes he possibly can if they win.
But I don't think catching the ring side of Brady determines if he's the best.
Right,
quarterback.
and by catch Brady, I don't mean can he win 7 Super Bowls. I mean if they win this Super Bowl, it's a real can you start to put him in that conversation?
Yeah.
I know Joe Dez's answer. Joe Dez's answer is no, you cannot. But I think that you can start to at least somewhat. Consider the conversation.
Tom should become the quarterback coach in Ann Arbor.
Oh my
God.
No, he's kicking Greg Olson out of Fox's number 1
Which is
spot.
a crime, absolute crime. I love Greg Olson.
Yeah, Greg's great.
I think Brady's got to be great as a broadcaster, man.
I'm
If there's going to be one guy who would be
he's
a great
kinda good at,
broadcaster.
everything, so he'll probably
dude.
really good.
He's not good as. Never mind. I'm not gonna go there.
But no, please don't. Please don't go there. But there aren't near as many weapons on this team as before, as we've talked about. But Travis Kelce continued to show last week he's an elite playoff performer. He had 2 more touchdowns. They now passed Gronk and Brady for the most touchdowns from a receiver and a quarterback in the playoffs. I think they're at 16 now. He needs just 8 catches today to pass Jerry Rice. Actually, 7 catches today to pass Jerry Rice for most catches in postseason history.
That's insane.
And he's not that old.
Yeah, he's not.
And they haven't been to the playoffs.
I don't know how much
many
longer
times.
he has in the league.
Kelsey.
They've been Kelsey's been to the playoffs a lot.
But it's not like he's 39 years old playing.
Right, but he's still at the same time he's been. I don't remember what his rookie year was, but the Chiefs were a playoff team every year with Alex Smith. They just didn't win anything. But so I mean, before Mahomes got there, they made the playoffs 2-3 times before. I mean, just saying.
But either way, he's going to pass Jerry Rice.
That's still impressive,
today
nonetheless,
for the most
especially as a tight
playoff
end.
catches
if he has 9
ever.
today.
If he gets 7, and I feel like that's pretty much a guarantee.
Yeah, Kelsey's been in
When's
every
the last
playoff
time
since
he hasn't got
2015.
7?
They've been really good for a while.
Yeah, that's
For a
crazy.
while, then they became elite once Mahomes took over.
Exactly.
So
Mahomie.
Just almost 10 years,
just-
though. It's crazy in a row.
I can't. I love Taylor Swift, but no. Please, just no.
He's like,
You love Taylor Swift.
I like Taylor Swift.
Name 5 songs.
They're pulling the opposite of what of the
1989 is my favorite album.
That's not 5 songs.
Guy.
But
How You
no,
Get
I'm
the
just
Girl,
kidding.
Blank Space.
I was kidding. We're good.
Don't
Mine.
actually name them.
I can name as many as you want me to name, but anyways.
Matt Merrifield, true Swiftie. Hey, our ratings are going to increase now on this show.
Yeah.
If we get out the word that Matt Merrifield's a Swiftie. Maybe that should be the episode title, Joe Dez, so we can
Matt Merrifield, the Swiftie.
raise our ratings up a little bit.
Anyways.
You belong with Matt for the name.
You belong-
What did he say?
You belong with
belong
Matt.
with Banger.
You belong with Matt.
Oh goodness. Yeah, that's Matt's favorite song. He's gonna
No,
start
my favorite
changing
song
the
is
words.
Unwritten.
What?
Unwritten.
Oh, that's one of Taylor's songs. Yeah.
It's not no, Unwritten's not a Taylor
It's
Swift
not a
song.
Taylor Swift song,
It's taken over the internet because
but
of
Unwritten is.
Feel
Shout out
the
Unwritten.
rain on
Yeah,
your
that is an
skin.
elite song.
Oh, yeah, by
I'm-
Natasha Bedingfield.
I'm there. I'm
Anyways.
with you on that one. That's an old, early 2000s
I don't even
song.
know what it's from,
But
but
I think it's like
it's
2000.
really popular right now. It should be the sing-along song at Spartan Stadium after the third quarter.
Oh, no.
That should be Michigan State's
Never mind,
sing-along
no.
song. It gets people love that song.
What song is
agree.
this?
I'll
Unwritten?
play it to you
Unwritten.
after the show.
You know
Yeah,
the song,
we'll
AJ.
do it after
I
the show.
guarantee.
We're not going to get
It gets
copyrighted,
white people
but-
going.
Oh goodness. But yeah,
the
let's-
Riv on a Saturday night. They played Unwritten last night.
All right, let's get into our predictions for this game, though. Everybody kind of go around. Baltimore's 3.5-point favorites. Where are we feeling for this game? AJ, we'll start with you.
Feeling good about Baltimore. I think Baltimore comes out on top. Yeah.
Okay. Before I make my pick, I rewatched Air this week.
I love that movie.
I have not
my
seen that
my
movie yet.
favorite
That
movie.
is a great
It's a really
movie.
good movie.
I've
And
heard it's
I,
good, but
and
I
I
haven't
was
seen it
watching it, and they were talking about just greatness and like. What
Oh God!
greatness is.
Are you about to compare Patrick Mahomes to Matt Damon's speech about Michael Jordan going to become the greatest player of all time?
I cannot bet against Mahomes, who I think is on the trajectory to be the greatest quarterback, maybe the greatest NFL player of all
God,
time.
you might
Sorry.
be right.
Legitimately,
I was going to say Merrifield is more worried about the fact that he's right than the fact that he
you
made
might
the claim.
be right, and now I don't want to take the
he
Ravens.
He is inevitable. We brought up Thanos earlier with MSU tennis. He is inevitable.
You do know
Give me the
Thanos
Chiefs.
lost, right?
Did he lose?
He did lose. He
Spoilers
won, and
for
then he lost.
Endgame, but it's been out
It's been out for 4 years. It's not a spoiler.
So I'm not.
5
It's
years.
been out more than 4 years.
5
Yeah,
years.
so
He also killed half of humanity before he lost. So
Half of the universe.
that's that too.
yeah, not just humanity.
But again, he
Hey, they brought him back.
he
though.
is greatness. So give me Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Wow. What's the spread? 4.5.
3.5.
The Merrifield Sport. This says 4.5. I'm taking the Chiefs to
3.5
cover.
is what I had it at when I
I'll take
typed
the
sheet
Chiefs
earlier.
to cover the spread. I'm going to take the Ravens, and I guess that's my hedge. The Chiefs will cover. Look at me, I got it right, guys. But
You get it right either way.
yeah, unless
That's
I
the bet
don't.
for 2/3 of America.
Either the Chiefs cover. Well,
The Chiefs
either
could
the Chiefs
cover and win
or the
outright.
Ravens win.
I'm going to take the Ravens to win. I think the Ravens win this football game. I don't love the pick, but Justin Tucker, last-second field goal.
I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you. I think if this is a close
If
game,
it's that close late, the Chiefs will probably
Yeah.
win.
that's what I think. If
I
it's a
agree.
close
This
game
game, I
can't
think
be
the Chiefs
close.
win. I'm going to take Kansas City.
Ah,
I think
Good.
Kansas
I did not
City,
want it to be a Baltimore
I think
sweep. That
Kansas
would
City
have been bad.
wins
I guess
this.
It was a
took them
Baltimore
too,
sweep,
but
I think
Yeah.
Kansas
AJ
City
and I
wins
get
this
it.
game. I think Baltimore's a better team, but I can't do it, man.
Ravens flock.
I can't bet
To
against
tell you
him.
the truth, bro, I don't really care. At all about who
AJ's
wins.
like gonna be
Doesn't
just
matter.
sitting there.
Well, this
getting
could be
himself
who you
ready.
guys
All
play.
of their
Yeah,
kneecaps.
but he doesn't care.
I know, but just getting there, bro, just getting there.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He just wants this next 2 week
AJ
celebration.
AJ just whoever comes his way, he's just gonna bite their kneecaps. He don't care.
Oh,
By
yeah.
their kneecaps.
That's right.
All right, Joe Dez, what do you got?
yeah, I'm taking Ravens. I really just want the Ravens to win bad. I like Lamar. I want him on the Pats years ago.
'Cause
Didn't get him, obviously.
If the Ravens win, I'm happy with whoever they play. Because if the Chiefs win, then I'm like, I need the Lions. Because Chiefs Niners, I agree, would not be. It's the least desirable matchup in my
All of
opinion.
the
I
memes
agree.
of how it's the Chiefs versus the Ravens, and literally every team brand in America, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that kind of rings true because America needs the Ravens to win.
America needs the Ravens.
but Mahomes is inevitable.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I agree. All right. Now the moment that AJ's been waiting for, along with everybody else. Lions-Niners preview. Let's start with, I'm going to give some quick rundowns on the Lions and the Niners, and then we'll talk about these matchups. Niners able to escape last week thanks to missed field goal and a late touchdown drive led by Purdy. Brock Purdy's been really good this year. The Lions have given up 300-plus in 5 straight weeks. Deebo Samuel was questionable during the week, but is going to play. And San Francisco, this is their record 19th conference championship appearance, most of any franchise in the league. But the Niners' run defense has been a problem. One of the worst in the league over the last few weeks of the regular season and into the playoffs. On Detroit's side, 1 win from their first ever Super Bowl appearance. First time this postseason the Lions have hit the road. Their last road game that they won in the playoffs, 67 years ago in San Francisco, back in 1957, before they went on to win the title.
I like that.
The Lions,
like that
I
narrative.
think the Lions need to get in a shootout, to be honest.
Can we? I
I
want
don't
to
think
talk.
the Lions win this game if it's low scoring.
This is an overall thing for the Lions. We kind of talked about last week about how they've become America's team and how I think that's stupid.
Well, for this year, they
they've
are
become
undoubtedly.
like the darling, and they're the 7-point underdog, and they're acted like they don't belong here. Like they do belong here. Like this is they won 12 games this season. They won a NFC North title. They've won 2 playoff games. Like this isn't some UMBC, St. Peter's. Oh, look at them! Glad they got here. Now let the big boys play. Like they've beaten the Chiefs on the road. I know Kelsey and Jones didn't play, but like. This is a good football team. And I understand we always fall in love with a team, and the Lions should be that team. I understand it's a cool story, but there are 2 first-team All-Pros on this Lions team playing this afternoon, Sewell and Amon-Ra. Like, I just don't get the whole, look at this, oh, they're saving the city. Like, no, this is just a good football team. And yes, everybody's rallying around them and seeing the Jared Goff stuff is cool, but like, let's not make this what it isn't.
It's just
I
because
don't
of
like
the
the
history around it.
I don't like they're saving the city.
Yeah,
narrative.
that's complete
No,
BS.
yeah, no.
But
I don't even get that. Like, what is?
Because Dan Campbell has so much say in
like, maybe
welfare
you guys,
reform.
Right, like
Right.
maybe you guys can, or somebody.
Was
can break
he
that
at the
down to me,
state of the
'cause
state?
I don't understand how in the world.
He could run for
I think
thing,
it's a
like-
perception thing. 'Cause I gotta be
Yeah, I mean-
outside of Michigan, from what I've seen, everyone thinks Detroit is way worse than it is. At least
It's
in
not
mass,
great, but,
everyone
like-
when they heard of Detroit, they thought it was like the most dangerous place on
it's
earth.
very bad.
Is it
city.
great?
Yeah.
No, but every city sucks.
Well,
Right,
like,
it's not. It's not great, but I mean, at the same time, when you look at, I was just downtown the other night. Downtown is revived, like it's revitalized. It's completely different from what it was. Detroit during the,
yeah.
the
When
Great
your
Recession
city
or
goes
whatever
goes
horrible.
bankrupt, things tend to not be
Right.
great, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Spoiler
It's
alert.
like-
Sorry, guys.
Spoiler
But
alert.
it's like,
Being
hey,
broke
hey, to
doesn't
all
help.
of you listening, get out of 2008 if that's how you feel, because it's not how it is anymore at all.
But I
Flip.
just think that this is a good football team. I think they have a very good shot in this game. I think they have a better shot. Actually, I'm not going to say they have a better shot of winning today than the Chiefs do, because that's not true. But I don't know. I
They
think
just
this. I
don't
think
have-
this game is more of a coin flip than the 7-point spread leads on. Like I think this game
so.
should be 4.5, 4-point spread. And maybe Vegas knows something and thinks the Lions just lay an egg or something. But if the Lions come out ready to play, they have a shot. The only thing that concerns me, and this is more just Brad Holmes might have egg on his face if they lose. If the Lions can't get home and get a pass rush, and Chase Young comes out and actually does something for the first time all season, it's gonna kind
It's
of
gonna look
it's
bad
gonna
because the
look
Lions
bad.
could
Not
have
that they
had
shouldn't have gone and gotten Chase Young, but when you at the deadline you go get DPJ, or if DPJ fumbles a punt, like there's a couple things that could happen, and maybe it looks bad on Brett Holmes. But overall, whatever happens was a great season for the Lions. But I don't want people to just settle. Oh, we made it to the NFC Championship game. Like you have a chance to go win a Super Bowl. That should kind of be your expectation. Like you're not happy to be here, go out and win it. But anyways, so.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox. I just got pissed off all week hearing people talk about how they're the Cinderella story, and it's like it's a 12-win football
Yeah,
team.
you can't really
They
be
want-
like a Cinderella story being the 3rd seed.
Like they won a division. They won 12 games. Like if Baker Mayfield and the Bucks would be a Cinderella story.
I think they're a Cinderella story more because of the history, obviously.
Yeah,
than
Right,
anything
that's-
else.
and that's
But
why,
that doesn't
like-
change that this team in a vacuum. I understand, but like
Yeah.
even
But-
but okay,
right.
but like say take this whole roster and they're the Vikings. They're not a Cinderella story. They're just
Right.
the really good.
But nobody is but like that. I think people understand that though.
right.
Also, too,
I mean, maybe some of the people you're talking to don't.
Yeah, but
like,
it feeds in also to the like national media, what we were just talking about with Detroit. Like when you hear about Detroit, it's never anything positive.
Right.
Nobody talks about the city rebuilding itself
good
and all
way,
of
right.
that. Yeah, nobody talks about it in a good way, and everybody knows that the Lions have historically been bad. So, like, you can't – I get what you're saying, but you can't separate the two.
They've been bad forever. Well, this team is really good, people. And, like, just
Exactly.
accept
They are.
that. They're still not
Exactly.
the lovable losers. Like, this is a really good football team.
Exactly.
So that's why I really hope they win today. But
Yeah.
I
I will
know.
say this. I don't like we've talked about, I don't like people trying to tie in the success of the Lions to the city itself. People are like, oh, wow, the city looks great. It's like the city's been fine.
It's been getting better.
It's been getting
consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Jack, thoughts on the matchup?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the pass rush thing because I truly think if I couldn't maybe tell you like a number of sacks that they could get, but like if Hutchinson can get home and get Purdy uncomfortable and force Purdy to make mistakes, which I think he's due to make like a big mistake or two in these playoffs. I think they win the game. But that's a big ask with Trent Williams. But you look at the rest of their offensive line, especially their other tackle, I believe it's Connor McGivitz.
I believe you're correct.
That's not a great offensive line in totality. So go put Aid Hutchinson on Connor McGivitz and let him just get home. And I think if he really gets home, I'll back up a little bit. It's not a guarantee that they're going to win if he gets home, but like it's
makes it
gonna-
a lot
gives them a lot
easier.
better
Yeah,
I
the likelihood goes
I have
up.
a question.
Way
Just
up.
like
very much.
by position, like look at the different groups. Who is a better quarterback today? I think Jared Goff's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy.
I think easily, yes.
I know where you're
I
going
agree.
with this.
I'm just saying,
I know
just-
where you're going with this. I have something to say at the end of this.
Okay.
But I will play along. Yeah. Okay.
In the running back
McCaffrey.
room, McCaffrey. I mean, I like the
Even
Lions
with the
tandem.
two-headed monster,
I
it's
agree.
still McCaffrey.
I would take McCaffrey, and then Elijah Mitchell is still a very good backup running back. He's very. I know it's going to be
Do they even
McCaffrey.
use Elijah
not
Mitchell anymore?
Not really.
I don't think
It's
so.
but if
Is he even on the roster?
yeah,
Yes,
he is their backup.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know that I've seen him play this year, and
He
I've
will only
watched
play
a decent
if
amount of
CMC
footage.
It
gets
literally
hurt.
is just if CMC's not on the field for whatever reason. And
Injury.
wide receiver room, I think I take the nine. I mean, Debo healthy.
Definitely.
If
take the
if
nine.
you're
But-
counting Debo as a wide receiver, then yes.
Debo
I never know what to count Debo.
Debo
as.
and Amon are both elite receivers. After that, both receiver rooms leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah,
I
but
think.
Ayuk's better than
You don't like
anybody
Ayuk?
else.
Yeah,
that
Ayuk's
they're-
He's
amazing.
the most
Yeah.
underrated wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, he's
He
disgusting.
has kind of
awesome.
revitalized after what was a less than ideal start to his career. So I think that the Niners have the better receiver room. Offensive line, I take the Lions as a whole.
As a
unit,
whole,
a whole
yes.
unit, I take the Lions.
But
Even
Trent
then,
Williams is the
yeah,
best.
but Sewell
lineman
is
in-
also an All-Pro.
one of the
He
best
is, but
players.
Williams is the best left tackle in football.
Is he the other All-Pro tackle? I mean, if there's two All-Pro tackles on the field, so
I'm assuming so. I don't
Okay.
know, but he is the best left
run
tackle.
run
in football.
defense, like we've talked about, the Niners not a great run defense as of late, even though they have a lot of studs on that line. But I take the Lions run defense, but I take the Niners pass defense. And then coaching staff, I mean, I think the Lions have the better OC. I don't. Is Raheem Morris the Niners defensive coordinator? Or is he the
He
one?
just got
He was the
hired
Rams,
for the-
but he's the Falcons.
He's
head
got hired
coach
for the
now.
Falcons.
Okay.
But
Who-
did you just do defense as a whole? Is that what you did?
I did run
pass defense,
run
run
defense versus
defense.
pass defense.
Okay, because I think defensive line, obviously, and pass rush is the Niners. I think the corners is also probably the Niners because the Lions' corners
But
aren't
it's
good.
closer than
but
maybe you
it
think.
is. But the safeties are Detroit. I think Detroit might have the best safeties group in football.
Yeah.
And so
One of them, yeah.
that's going to be really interesting as well. This should be a lot of fun. All right, let's go around. We've kind of already said this, but everybody give your key to the game for Detroit because we're not going to act like this isn't a biased show. We're
What we
in
are
Michigan.
completely unbiased.
I'm wearing a
hey,
Joey Harrington
we haven't
jersey.
ripped on Michigan yet today. I can get to that in the last
No,
5
we don't
minutes.
need
No,
to.
thank you.
Jim Harbaugh
Well,
did
we
take
have
the
a couple
Chargers
things
job,
to pick about.
but,
The witch is gone. She's a Charger. She's gone, or he's gone, I guess.
But anyways,
Good riddance.
on to sticking with this game.
Some nice burger joints in LA. I heard.
NFL.
Yes,
Talking about the Chargers.
he is an NFL coach
Well,
now. You can't
Lions.
say NFL.
Fits.
Lions, Niners.
Lions.
Lions, Niners.
goodness.
Joe Dez, give me your key to the game for the Lions and a prediction on if they win.
It's
Or
going to
cover.
be turnovers if they're going to win. They need to get some type of turnovers. Brock Purdy, when he throws a pick, next few plays can also be a pick. He gets kind of in his head a lot. I think that's going to be the key. Just pass rush, get to the quarterback, make sure he throws picks.
I think it's the pass rush because if you get home to Purdy, then he'll turn the ball over, and whoever wins the turnover. And the Lions have done a good job of forcing turnovers the last couple weeks. So if they can continue to get pressure on the quarterback, they can win this football game. I really believe that.
Yeah, it's all on the Lions defense and what you can do to Purdy. I think you need to obviously get home, run disguises, confuse Purdy, get him out of his element. And if you get him out of his element, I
think he could have a meltdown.
Yeah, for sure. Really, I think he could have a 3 interception, 4 interception type game if it just keeps snowballing. Like, because he's still young, so I feel like if he throws a pick, he probably will definitely get in his head and make more mistakes.
Yeah, the Lions have to capitalize on those because it feels like Brock Purdy leads the NFL in dropped interceptions.
Yeah. Yes.
And so the Lions have to catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they should put Amon-Ra out there
so.
for corner. Just have him as like a sky safety.
Sometimes, man.
Facts. Yeah, no, I don't want to reiterate exactly what you guys said, but I agree completely. I think, just really getting at Purdy and, forcing him into a couple of turnovers will make or break this game. I do think, though, if they can get at him a couple of times and throw an interception or two, I think if he I think he could have a meltdown today. I do.
Yes, he definitely
really
can.
do. So that's my key.
Because I think if you don't get after Purdy and he plays a good game, you need to offensively have a perfect game. Like, you wouldn't be able to, not score every single time you had the ball.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think my key is holding against that pass rush. If you can keep Jared Goff upright, I think you've got a real shot in this game because you can get it to your playmakers and you can get things going. You can get the ball to Laporta and Amon-Ra, and you can get your running backs going, especially if you get them in space. Get Jahmyr Gibbs the ball in space.
Yes.
And you mentioned the safeties. A sneaky long ball to Jameson Williams could be like
his 2 touches a game.
One of them could
be a 60-yard touchdown.
One of them probably will be, but he touches the ball twice a
man.
game. That's my one gripe is that they don't use him. But anyways.
All right.
Definition of a spark plug.
Lions keys. Matt, you still got one?
I had pass rush.
Okay. Yes, and I did on the other side. So, all right. Niners minus 7.5. AJ's taking Lions money line and hammering it.
You already know. I've said it every week.
Yes, every week. This entire season, he has picked the Lions. And if they win today, he will pick them again in 2 weeks.
Yep. Lions cover, Niners win.
Okay.
Lions cover. I don't know who wins, but give me the Lions to cover the 7 or 7.5, whatever it is right now. And actually, I think I like that it's 7.5 right now because 7,
can get sneaky.
7 could be a push, or even it could be an 8. But I think it'll be a 1-possession game either way. So give me the Lions to cover the 7.
I'm going to go Lions win. I've disrespected the Lions way too much this season. They deserve the Super Bowl pick at least.
Give me Detroit. I can't come on here in a Lions jersey and pick against the Lions. I do think that San Francisco's really good. But something about this team, man.
The majority of the table is on Lions.
Yeah, but we're in Michigan, so.
Well, I mean, still.
But something about this team, man. I mean, they're playing really well, and they're just getting the job done.
A word that's been thrown around a lot recently has been aura. This team has that aura.
And this team has it.
Hey, I said aura last week, and I got flamed for it.
Did you?
Oh, is that because it's supporting the Lions? Is that why we don't call that out? I just want to.
I don't remember you getting flamed for it, but maybe.
I did get flamed for it. I was like, yeah,
I
the
barely
aura,
remember you supporting the Lions.
No, I said the aura. I was going the reverse. Like, I had the aura of. I had a bad aura that the Bucs were going to come in and win with Baker Mayfield. You guys were like, no, that's not a real reason.
Is that the right use of the word aura? Wait.
It was just the vibe. Like, that's the same thing. It's just a feeling. Like, you don't. I guess.
Yes.
Well,
right.
I have an aura.
Yeah, give me the Lions.
AJ does have an aura. When he walks in the room, you know he's there.
That'll do it for us today on the Green and White Report. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the Lions. Hopefully they can get it done, and we'll be talking about them again for another couple of weeks. That'll wrap things up on the Green and White Report. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a blessed rest of your Sunday afternoon. Enjoy some football. Enjoy your day. Stay safe, and so long from East Lansing.